in the dark, spinning tales from the void never bark. Movie shows, they tear apart. Dimensions clash, they ignite the spark. Couch debates, turn the volume up. Set the chaos, overflow the cup. Alien worlds and twisted scenes. Banter spreads like electric dreams. Outer dimensions ride the wave. Trying days set flames ablaze. Discussing bits and cosmic plays. Beyond the stars they find their praise. They find their praise. Ripping through the deep.
Hey guys, welcome back again to the Outer Dimensions podcast, the channel where two psychotic brothers chop things up when it comes to movies, music, and TV, and everything else. And we have El Presidente has graced his presence upon us. You know him as Hey Archer. You know him as the president of the Nerd Affiliated, drinking from his Sal cup. And also our lead of the Real Nerd Busters on Instagram. And by the way, guys, speaking of Instagram, he just relaunched a new Nerd Affiliated, the rejuvenated, new and improved Nerd Affiliated Facebook page. All the links, with the exception of the Facebook page, is in the video description below. So if you want to follow him, hit him up for some merch. They have their official website, which tends to keep them out of YouTube jail sometimes. Guys, please support them. You know him. You know him. You love him. Nerdy Coffee, Thursday nights. Hey Archer live around 8:15ish Eastern PM. Hey Archer, welcome to the Outer Dimensions podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much. Excited to be here.
And of course, you guys know Dre.
I get this bomb ass entrance last week that makes me say I'm appreciative of the Roman Reigns, and there's Dre, motherfucker. Folks, if y'all haven't gotten it, I've already said
he's a father, a YouTuber, an educator, the lover of all things Sentai and anime. It's the one true tribal chief of the Outer Dimensions podcast. It's Dre, the Geek Dad.
See, I need a Paul Heyman. We're gonna have to pre-record Paul Heyman doing that. I'm gonna have to find him at a show and be like, dude, I'll pay you.
What if we do this? We get you to dress up in a suit. You can pretend that you're Paul Heyman.
Ladies and gentlemen, I could do it. I probably could.
No, don't blow out the eardrums. Come on.
I don't want to blow out the voice either, because I got to work. This voice pays the bills.
Yeah, but we know that Paul's gonna be switching sides though.
The Punk, I don't know.
Punk keeps dropping those little breadcrumbs.
Yeah, we'll see.
And we know Randy Orton's still around. He didn't he acknowledge Reigns as a legend, and we all know that. Well, Randy's a legend killer.
Yeah,
so let's see what happens.
So, I wanted to just say this and preface this for those of you that are watching the show tonight. This is going to be a little extra language today. It's going to be some spicy topics, and I say spicy topics because I think a lot of the mass media, we all kind of agreed that it's a lot of agendas, and we were talking about this at work the other day. A lot of agendas are pushed onto shows, movies, and I know that we were talking about this on KVG stream on Wednesday, and Noah said it best. I would just love to have some mindless, good, old-fashioned movies and shows where there's no agendas. Just put the shit on there. If it's funny, it's funny. If it's not, it's not. If it's good, it's good, no matter what the story is. Do I agree with some of what the people say? Yes and no. I think there's a button that people are pushing way too far, and some people are taking their prejudices, and we're not about that. The three of us are very good friends, known each other for years. We don't agree with those opinions, and we're definitely stating that for this episode. If you want to comment on the replay and see this, and you feel some kind of way negatively, please edit your comment. Do not post the negative hates and about anything that you don't like. If you want to say you just don't like this and you agreed with somebody, that's fine. But please be respectful. I'm saying that because the three of us love each other, and we're very cool, and we're respectful of y'all. But please be respectful of the chat tonight, because you will be kicked. We have our mods in here. They will kick you out if you don't know how to manage yourself. And I'm saying that as an adult. I'm saying that we're fucking adults. Cut your shit out. No one to stop.
When Dre means censored, he means you mother.
Oh, I'm not gonna be like Raw.
Okay, just like that. What?
I'm not gonna be like Raw, where they just hit. They're like, oh, let them say fuck about 4 times, and then it's like none of that. No.
Republican. What?
Exactly. Trump.
Gotta watch that. What? No. Hey.
Military secrets. I'm sorry. I saw the Paul Rudd skit that he did, which was absolutely hilarious. Disney's not leaking military secrets, not in a group chat.
Okay, speaking of Disney, let's acknowledge Disney.
I do. They get my money.
Just like that.
Oh,
the most recent episode of, I think this most recent episode of Daredevil, we got the word fuck. Because he said fuck it.
He had some shit.
Yeah.
He had some shits in there too.
No, but I mean, we got an F-bomb on Disney.
On Disney
we got a few of them. On Disney Plus series. We had a few of them before.
What
outside of Deadpool Wolverine?
I'm talking about Disney Plus. I'm talking about Disney Plus TV shows, not movies.
TV shows. There was. I had to look around.
Okay.
But there's a couple of the shows that have dropped a few, not the movies that we've seen in the theaters or that went directly there. There were a couple of S's and F's that leaked through, but they put the TVMA up in the corner to let you know, like, hey, it's up here.
Blue is saying Frank Castle also said it, but I mean, okay, that was within Daredevil though, so I think Daredevil is maybe, even though it's in light, it's breaking a few boundaries, slightly maybe.
So, like I said today, and
it's Agatha all along.
And they dropped some bombs in that one too, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But today is gonna be part of possibly a series. Dave and I kind of are tinkering with the idea of, if this one goes really well, Archer's always welcome to come back, and we could always bring it up again because there's a lot of stuff.
Let's rephrase that. Let's be honest. Whether it goes well or not, Archer, he's our brother. Okay, he's our Thursday night. He's our Thursday night family. So even if this episode or his theme is not well received, I'm going to give him a pass, and he's going to be welcome back anytime.
Well, I mean, that goes for two of us, so that definitely is the truth. So
so the way you're saying it though is kind of like, well, if the show doesn't do well, Archer's never coming back. Shut the fuck up.
I like that. It's like you're not going to be welcome back. Nope. Oh shit! Your application was denied, sir. Yeah. Good luck on all your future endeavors.
Well, I mean, he's the president, so he's pretty much an ambassador. He can go wherever he wants. He's got diplomatic immunity. There you go.
I'll just take over this channel right now.
Hey, oh shit! Look at that.
I'll send my wife.
See?
Exactly. Easy peasy. Beautiful cover girl.
I'm loving it. This is what I needed after a long day today. So this feels really good. So again, we're gonna
Preparation H feels really good on the whole.
Damn, Dave, we gotta go there. Wait, whoa. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Austin Powers reference. You gotta love
it. I know. So we're gonna be talking about a couple of shows, and it's gonna be 2 shows and 2 movies. If this, like I said, if the series is gonna do anything, I do have a couple other shows that have been kind of hated on and talked about, and it's stuff a lot with our brother Archer. If you guys do not follow him on any of his socials, you should. He does great in-depth reviews of things, and he gives you his perspective. And usually, he will not just give you his crew will step in, and they give you the 3 of them give you some really solid ideas and understandings of why they feel that way. And that's what kind of sparks that fire in us. And he's inspired me to do things in a different but similar way to him. Because analytical, you gotta have receipts. Because facts are facts if you have the numbers and the proof to see it, folks.
And if anyone's watching this, you're not familiar with Archer's approach to things. He's not just a number cruncher. The man listens to the shareholder calls for Hasbro. The man, I mean, his spreadsheets have spreadsheets, okay?
We're pissed off that he still didn't get his red carpet invite. We saw you guys. Get him his fucking invite. I want to see him on the red carpet. He dresses like to the fucking nines.
The tribal chief demands it.
I do.
And yeah, you're looking pretty sharp in that photo shoot there.
I have to give it to you, bro.
And of course, let's not forget the new nerd affiliated merch that you said you just that just launched recently.
Yep. Love that.
The nice Outlaw collection.
Yes, the nice little blood red. Looks like a blood red splatter going on there.
I mean, it could be hot sauce, could be blood. Who knows? That's part of the fun.
Either which way. Could be ketchup. Yeah. Could be sriracha.
Yeah.
Hey, could be Frank's. What?
Hey.
Just saying. So, guys, let's get into this. Brought to you by a special request by Dre, the Geek Dad, the one true tribal chief of the dimensions. We have woke media, TV and movies proving the critics wrong. Let's be honest. How many times do we see a movie like is raving? The critics are raving, and what are these? Half the critics are like Forbes magazine, or you get some like technical magazine. Like hell, it could be Linus Tech Tips doing a review of a movie. What do they have to do with movies? Well, they're critics. They released a story on it. So I mean, a lot of times we get the so-called critics saying that this is amazing, or we get critics who are just damning something before it even hits the theaters. Captain America and Brave New World. And honestly, for like us who are the popcorn munchers, the fans who go to the movies for the experience, to see these films on the big screen, when we're dropping between 10 to 12 or even $15 per ticket, not counting concessions. And if you're bringing, the missus, the significant other, you're spending $30-$40 just to get through the door half the time. And if it's an IMAX or 3D experience, they're getting more money out of you. It makes you wonder, like, okay, now we can pick and choose because, hey, you can wait a month for a movie to hit streaming services. So it begs the question, do you want to wait? And is a movie really worth your time? Like Dre said, there's a lot of quote unquote woke agendas. And we're going to review a few TV shows and movies. And we're going to see each person's perspective on, was there any woke themes there? Do we pick up on any woke themes? And, what do we pick up on, or what do we like?
Now, just so for clarity's sake, Archer did name the episode. I did not. I did all the other cool fun stuff, but Archer was the one that he said, hey, wait a second, why don't we call it this? And I loved it. And I quoted him saying, I love the title. And I instantly saved it, wrote it in my avocado notebook. Y'all know the famous cheat sheet right here. I wrote it in here and I had to list it. So it was Archer that had to come up with that.
Is it the avocado notebook because you spill avocados on it?
No.
It's okay.
No. Literally.
It's okay.
Avocados. At least I was a school teacher. I needed fun things to have. So I had
we know your children like to munch on avocados. We know.
We all eat avocado in this fucking house. It's amazing.
See?
But I'm also Latino and I love avocado.
So guys, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna jump into this, guys. We're ripping off the Band-Aid. But before we do that, this episode of the Other Dimensions podcast is brought to you by Dave's Dimension and a Stream for the Cure happening April 26th. That is right. We are doing a 24-hour. Yes, I'm out of my freaking mind. I'm doing a 24-hour stream to raise money for the Ride for Roswell, which benefits Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Institute. We are going to have prizes. We already have a boatload of prizes coming our way. We have a hot toy. That's right, Archer. We know you like Star Wars hot toys. And I think this is one you might like to have with your, you have that Luke Skywalker, right?
I do.
Is that the one from, is the Luke you have from
season 2?
Season 2 Mando? This is this might be a companion piece for you, possibly. Let's just say that.
I like that.
Anyone who's interested, we're going to be doing 24 hours nonstop. Anybody and their grandmother is invited to come on stream and hang out, promote your channels, your Etsy, you're on Kick, you're on Twitch, you're on everywhere. Even if you're on Facebook, we'll welcome you to. We don't like Zuckerberg too much. But we're welcoming everyone on. We're going to be doing giveaways. How do you get in on those giveaways? It's a $10 donation. The donation link is in the video description below. It's only $10. You take a screenshot of your $10 donation. You're going to message it on Instagram to either Dave's_dimension, or Dre the Geek Dad on Instagram. Send us your name, your screen name, your real legit government name, and the screenshot, and you're entered in on one $10 entry. That entry gets you one chance on every wheel that we're doing. Okay, we are giving out Joe figures. I think, Dre, we're still working on possibly a mythic box.
The mythic box is currently in the works, but I did want to talk about this, if you don't mind, because I own this, so I wanted to show it. I did reach out to you. If you guys do not know, Andrew of Toyco, he is a great dude. He's out of California. He sells SH Figure Arts, Hot Toys, 3.0. He does it all. I've been buying from him for a long time. I built a very good relationship with him. He has officially sponsored a figure to donate to one of the wheels, and that figure is one that I personally love and I own. It is Tanjiro Komodo.
You just muted yourself again, I think.
Did I?
Yeah, we lost you.
Sorry, I must have when I poked the mic. So it is Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. This is a $55 SH Figure Arts. So this is going to go directly from Toyco. Whoever wins, I will let him know, and he will ship it directly to you. If you guys like to shop and like getting SH Figure Arts, he gets everything in from Japan. He foots the bill on the tariff. For all y'all that have been knowing that if you collect imports like Mayfex, like I do, 3.0 like I do, Hot Toys like we all do, you want to go through him. And like I said, he has a Facebook group called Toyco. You could do pre-orders on his Facebook group or through his website. And those links are going to be in the video description below. And if you guys really want to reach out to him personally, I could always introduce you guys. He's a great dude to talk to. But this will be one of the real prize wheel figures you can win.
Oh, you know who else has a Facebook group? Nerd Affiliated has a brand new Facebook group that just launched, guys. So please, if you guys follow Archer and the rest of the gang and Nerd Affiliated, if you follow them on Instagram, you follow them on YouTube, you want to follow them on Facebook as well. Nerd Affiliated is taking over the interwebs.
Trying.
But yes, we're going to be doing. Hopefully, we're gonna figure out the exact time we're starting live. But we're going to be doing
12:30. That's what I've been pushing.
So we will be doing Outer Dimensions podcast, and then we will go directly into the 24-hour stream for the Cure. And just so everyone knows, I'm working my full day that day.
Oh, I am
then
too.
I'm doing the Outer Dimensions podcast,
and I am too.
And then we're going 24 hours straight.
Now I may pass out at one point, and then Dave and I will probably swap.
And then I will collapse of a coronary.
So
I am donating my body to science.
Amen. Hey, Roxanne, if you talk to Roxanne about that, you better let her know.
She already knows I want to be burned. So,
Look at her. Viking funeral.
Viking funeral. Okay.
Well, you don't want to come back as an undead, like as Walking Dead?
No, I have to ascend.
Okay. So. I like to go to Valhalla.
Because we're doing the Ride for Roswell again, 35-mile country route. I've never done this route before, so we'll see how it goes. It's going to be through like farm country. It's going to be pretty damn interesting, but we're doing a stream for the Cure. It is the 30th anniversary of the Ride for Roswell. They've been doing this fundraiser for 30 years now. And, there's a few people in some of our groups who know that this is personal for me. So this is something I don't want to give up on. I know past couple of years fundraising has been a little difficult for people, but I just want to put that out there. All the links are in the video description below. If you do donate, you're donating and the transaction is happening directly on their website like it has for the past couple of years. We do not handle any funds of any kind. This is a full disclaimer. Everything is done directly through the foundation's website. So there we go. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road.
Well, I'm looking forward to this because I did some numbers. I had to do some research, so I'm looking forward. Let's start the show. Okay. So this show I had a lot of high hopes for, and I'm going to start it out like that because I actually enjoyed it. I felt it was a little too short. There was a lot of rough edits and a lot of rough cuts. Many a Daredevil fan, I think you need to get off the show's dick because he was in the first fucking episode for like 30 seconds, less than that maybe. Charlie Cox was not supposed to be the focal point of the show. So again, it's in the fucking universe of Daredevil. Like in Spider-Man, we know that Daredevil existed. He was in No Way Home for what? 15 seconds?
But he's a damn good lawyer.
He's a damn good lawyer. Exactly. So this, when I decided to go look at all the critic websites, this is what came out of this. It scored extremely high on Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, Rotten Tomatoes, I hate you because you're full of BS. So I was like, Metacritic, you're another one. Metacritic gave it a 62%, citing that there was same things I just started kind of saying. There were they felt it was rushed. There was they needed more time to develop her character. But a lot of people in the reason it scored such a high percentage was that many people that are, I don't want to say disabled. I feel like that's a misnomer. Many people that are, challenged in different ways felt like this is a character you can identify with very well. And I thought it was awesome. Alakwa did a great job. I mean, coming as a woman who is mute, who does sign and is disabled, like actually missing a limb. This did a great job for her character. Fans, when I looked over, and now I'm going through like 10 different websites. I looked at IMDb, IGN, and I'm going through several, like even I went through Disney Plus's analytics to try to find numbers. And they don't really give you those numbers, or I don't have access to that sort of stuff. But kind of just like running it through Access and kind of getting an overall like average number. 59% was kind of the fans' review. And from what I could tell, the fans that did not like this felt it was because we needed more Daredevil, less focus on her, and more focus on Fisk. And I felt like this show was meant to do one thing, guide us into Daredevil Born Again. This was meant to do, for those of you that don't read comic books, this is the gang war storyline. This was what was setting up Daredevil's Born Again, which is based on 3 different Daredevil storylines. The last one being the gang war, where Fisk takes over New York, and Luke Cage would have been the person running against him, because he puts into, if you guys are watching Daredevil, the Vigilante Act, which stops any vigilantism in New York, similar to the Sokovia Accords in the MCU. So that's what people, kind of should know. Now, I looked at what fans were expecting. Gritty, mature action. That's what everybody kept saying. They kept using these, and I love it because Archer mentions it too. And when you watch this stuff, it's like they always mention these buzzwords. You gotta make it attractive and sexy. This is a mature show with a woman that's a former assassin. You have to have that voice when they do the voiceovers, and they're like saying it's set in the Daredevil universe. This is before it gets into the MCU, because we don't want to talk about the MCU.
I'm sorry, when you said dead sexy, I was thinking, baby, get in my belly.
Get in my belly. But, again, that's what they expected. What the show received. Now, here's where everybody and their mother starts crucifying this.
Hey, don't be talking about mothers now.
They say that the show was a detailed experience of a former assassin, obviously, dealing with her demons, which I felt was really cool, because we see that once in a while. But I liked it kind of as a redemption story for her. I did like that there was a focus on her culture. Guess what, folks? How many Native American heroes do we have? I'll give you a minute to count on one hand, because that's how many you actually see not even in the MCU. Sony, Fox, and comic books have given us 5. 5 Native Americans. She's not even on that list, so it technically would be 6. 6 Native American superheroes. And she has no superpowers. She's a trained assassin, much like Elektra, no superpowers. And what made her cool was that it's all about her culture. this blending of being Hispanic and Native American, not being welcome in either world, and then Fisk having this weird surrogate father relationship. And then here's again, now the critics had to go after it and say, well, she's doesn't talk. Fucking duh. She sign languages. But how are we supposed to see? She expresses in her face. People were complaining about the lack of Daredevil. Again, go kick rocks. They complained about too much, not enough Fisk, and too much focus on her Native American culture. That's where they got mad. I've given kind of my take on it. I want Archer to kind of talk about how he reviewed it, and then what your opinion is, and then we want to see what some of y'all. If you guys watch this show, drop your comments in the chat here so we can see what you guys reviewed, what you guys thought if you watched it. The floor is yours, Archer.
I should have looked for my number score on that, but I hear everything that you said. I agree with the theory of everything that you said, and I strongly agree though that there needs to be more Native American storytelling, and not in a you're from behind the eight ball. You're a like you're down and out and that kind of shit. Like, I'm kind of over that. They just need to be in stuff. That's why I love Prey so much. I think Prey was that.
Oh, great! Yeah.
That sleeper hit where they were freaking badass that whole movie. They got captured at one point just because they were just like, what the hell are these people? But still outlived the French and all that stuff. So that part especially, I'm all for it. So episode 1 happens. You pointed out Daredevil does a appearance. Fisk does a short appearance there, and episode 1 was great. Episode 1 did better backstory telling than Black Widow did. I think it attempted to do the same thing where you get the whole backstory, or you at least get the broad stroke of the backstory in like a 10-minute montage. So I thought I did a better job in Black Widow on that part.
I agree.
I thought the fight with Daredevil was amazing.
Oh yes.
And overall, I think I gave episode 1. Like I said, it's not in front of me. I'll scroll on Instagram afterwards to see if I can find it. But I feel like I gave episode 1 maybe like a 4.
I think it was a 3.5 or 4. I think it's
3.5 or 4 or something like that I gave it. Because I really enjoyed it. I remember even being in the group chat with the fellas being like, yo, this show actually might be good. It might be good. Now, the only complaint I had about the show ended up being one of my biggest issues with the show, which is one of my biggest issues with Disney as a whole in general, which is Disney has an unwritten rule that every villain at the end of a movie, or now that there's TV shows, at the end of a TV show, the villain has to either die or turn good. They're now pushing out a couple exceptions to the rule, but even whatever his name was in Falcon Winter Soldier, I almost called him Taskmaster.
John Walker,
Nemo, Zemo.
Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo was even at one point in that show more dark hero than he was straight bad guy compared to Civil War.
Well, what about Sharon Carter? I'm curious. Well, you know what? No, we're not going to even get into it because we can go off on a whole tangent with that. Because I think Sharon Carter,
but they didn't even go back to that anyway, so that doesn't even matter. So like that's one where it was like cool, like I don't remember where I wrote it. Maybe I talked about it in real time, but I thought it was pretty obvious that she was going to be a bad guy because she's literally at Bad Guy HQ Island. So
she's in Madripoor. It's like, come on, man, like bad.
Yeah.
Joe fix it.
Yeah. So episode 1 I thought was great. As the show rolls on, it goes to utter shit. Sorry for cursing.
Oh, please, you can curse. No, you can curse. You can curse.
Okay.
God damn it.
Fuck.
The show spirals. It absolutely spirals. The show, first of all, she was good in the show. I have no issue with her in the show. I follow her on Instagram. She's actually due next month to give birth to her second kid. So I had no beef with her in the show. So the critics who were attacking her and Disney for having her be the main character, I was like, all right, you're idiots. You haven't even watched the show. Totally agree with that. The show just didn't make sense. And what they did to her as a character didn't make sense. Like, she did some pretty bad stuff in I can't remember what show she was in.
Hawkeye.
Was that Hawkeye? Yeah. She's a bad guy. Like, there's no, oh, this might be an objective type of I was gonna like reverse or either way. It could be, it's subjective to whoever's watching it, whether she's doing something bad or not. She's a bad guy. She murders straight up in Hawkeye. So then this show almost does a, that's that you didn't see what you really saw. This is what really happened. In an effort to make her a good guy for the sake of a show, for the sake of maybe we can monetize this. So that was the number one issue I had this as episode 2 started to roll on, and then, I thought it was cool concept that Fisk controls this random ass town, like somewhere else. Like, I thought that was a cool idea. Them shooting Fisk at the end of Hawkeye and then bringing him back in this show in itself, I was like, I don't understand why you did that. Again, you have to either kill the person or convert them. That was the rule they were doing. But Fisk is in the show. He's interesting in the show, but this didn't need a Marvel stamp. Like, this is a classic. This type of story about a bad guy running a town is a classic, single episode A-Team thing.
Or a bad 90s Seagal movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Walking Tall.
Yeah, exactly. And they stretch it for a whole season. It didn't need to exist. The family dynamic stuff, I still don't really know why they didn't like her. Didn't need to exist. But then
I think it was the dad. It was, I think, from the way I interpreted it from watching this. And I agree. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think the first episode and the 5th episode were the best episodes because they had a lot of action and bookmarked. I think episode 1 obviously was a little bit more because we had obviously Daredevil and we saw her fight. I think that the dad, because he was like Native American but not really welcome, and the mom was the mom was Native American, the dad was Mexican, right? And the dad was like into like the Mexican gangs. Right. And was heavy into that, and then he gets involved with Fisk. Yeah. And then I think that's where I get that they didn't like that.
Yeah, but here's the bullshit about it. And I forgot about this until we started talking about this, actually. First of all, they didn't need to give her powers. There was no reason to give her any kind of like, oh, now you have these mystical powers of your people. Like, I was just like, this unnecessary.
You think you were trying to shoot for Kahori?
No, all it did was like rush the fight, like, yeah, if the grandmother ended up having powers, sure, but like her having connection to stuff, I was just like, it was, again, pointless. It served no purpose. But I forgot about this, how the mom dies, and this grandmother's so loving that the mom dies, and she's like, you know what, man who we don't like, get the hell out of here and take that bastard kid with you too. That was so out of character.
That was very out of pocket. That was very out of pocket.
It would, if anything, it's like, that's my granddaughter. She's the last memory I have of my daughter. You get out of here. Yes, I'm keeping her. And then maybe your storyline is that, as she's growing up, she resents the grandmother because the dad left. And then she finds the dad, and then she's able to go out and, find the dad, and then works for him, falls into the bad stuff. Maybe you could do that angle, but the fact that she kicked the daughter out and the dad in whatever episode that was, I was like, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. So there's my long rant.
No, can we agree though that I think that outside of episode 1, which is, like you said, great backstory, did a lot better than a lot of the MCU films and other shows did in a concise 45 for 50. I think it was like an hour long. I think each episode was like an hour long.
Yeah.
We could say that the writing for the rest of them was just shit. And literally it was, we're not going to acknowledge Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and all that. We're not going to acknowledge the fact that she was in there with Yelena Belova. We're going to barely acknowledge that Fisk gets shot in there and then somehow appears in New York recovering. And then we have the story kind of leap forward where we don't know the reason why she leaves, because Hawkeye kind of gave us a little bit of information on that. But again, if you didn't see Hawkeye, I think a lot of what you're saying is true, that Disney's idea is, if you didn't see this show, you're going to not understand what's in this next one. So you do need to kind of watch everything. And then in your own head, as a teacher, I think like this, like provide the background information. Like, oh, you saw Hawkeye, so you'll know what's going on. Oh, you see Doctor Strange, you should know what's going on. Do we at least agree with that the writing kind of doesn't coalesce with tying into those other extraneous stories?
Yeah, because that's with every Marvel show at this point. That's every Marvel show. And I think it's a hard thing to do because you don't know. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if I tie it to a random show, I isolate the casual person. If I don't tie it to a random show, then I punish the hardcore who's watched everything, who is now getting an explanation about how somebody got powers for a second or maybe third time, because I have to cater to the casual. So you're kind of screwed either way.
Yeah, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, whichever which way you're going to look at it. I don't disagree with that. So see, this is fair.
Yeah. So for one, as far as the scores on the screen here, 59, I feel like might even be too high in my opinion. But to the comment went away. Was a Beast?
Beasts. Yeah.
To his comment there, I agree with that. It was never really a big issue for me until a friend pointed it out in random shows. But in this one in particular, it really bugged the crap out of me because I remember the bowling alley fight. She's literally a grown ass man has her like by the shirt and like duffing her in the face, and she's just like, but with no powers.
Exactly. Like you expect maybe Black Widow, Yelena Belova.
But Black Widow shouldn't be able to do that either, and that's where I think they messed up that movie. But that's a whole other conversation.
Folks, it's gonna be more because I like this because I think that even if you don't have powers, you're still tough because you have that military training to take it on the jaw at least once. Well,
that doesn't help you. That doesn't help the jaw. But there's the unwritten rule of like with superheroes, they have heightened abilities. You just kind of like comic unwritten law. If you're a hero, you could take the extra bumps.
I love the wrestling term there. I love it.
Yeah, but even if we take a real life approach, even the best boxer in the world, if you hit them in the right spot,
they're going down. And she doesn't always shoot people. She's dead now. She's in the Soul Stone now.
I wish they would go back. I wish they went back to her shooting people like they did in, you go back and you watch the intro to Age of Ultron. They're popping caps and everybody.
Bro, she sat in the back like with Hawkeye. Like if you play Rivals, folks, Beast, which you play with me every day. That bitch is sitting there like with dink, dink. You ain't running up on people trying to hit you with batons.
That's where I'm like, make Marvel great again. Bring back guns.
Hey, I'm with that.
But,
now,
I mean, that could be said about McFarlane, but we won't go there.
I want to hear your take on this. I know you saw this as well.
I saw this as well. I enjoyed this. Okay. I liked aspects of it. But yes, the thing that pushed me off or rubbed me the wrong way is, again, both of you guys touched on this. The trope of the bad guy, the villain, the hench person, if you will, who, they have a fall for grace and now they're trying to heal up or they're trying to come back and they find themselves in a situation that they basically are redeeming themselves. They go on a redemption story. Hell, Loki has gone on a redemption arc several times. Uh, I mean, that's one example. I mean, think about it. Uh, Yelena, she was on a full out revenge mission to kill Hawkeye, and now she's redeemed herself.
Has she really though? Because again, Hawkeye. I feel like so many people have not really watched Hawkeye. My brother, I consider him.
I mean,
my actual brother, and Beast knows him. Sam. He's not. He's a casual. He likes superhero stuff, but he has not seen Hawkeye.
okay.
He barely saw WandaVision. He's only maybe seen 3 or 4 shows, and he's missed out on all this background that I think you do need.
Listen, Beast, you should definitely see Hawkeye. Give it a chance, especially the future Mrs. Josh Allen.
No, Beast. No, Beast has seen it. My brother hasn't. My brother has not.
Then your brother should definitely see this. Okay.
I've yelled at him about it.
Because I mean, if he's your brother, then he's my brother by extension.
Yes.
I'm just saying. So
the little brother needs to watch it.
Although my actual flesh and blood brothers, the one is a straight up little bitch. Anyways, he is. Steven, if you ever saw this, you know it's true. It's true.
It's all love.
Anyway,
all love.
But that's the thing. It's like, okay, and we go and we're seeing the same tropes that we see in everything, whether it's a villain or a hero. What happens? The one thing you're never supposed to do, you go back home. You get like emotions, and you're trying to protect people, or you're trying to stay out of things, but you find yourself in a situation where you can't just sit back and let things happen. She just can't sit back and let the bad things happening in her town. There's that. You touched on the powers. The powers weren't necessary, but I think the powers were supposed to symbolize a redemption in a way. It's like, think of the first Thor movie. He's stripped of his powers by his father Odin, right? And then he gets to the point where he's trying to stop Loki's, the destroyer. And what happens? He's willing to sacrifice himself for mere mortals on Earth. And what happens? He's imbued with his armor all of a sudden. I mean, he's redeemed and he's restored with his powers. That's the thing. And let's face it, Thor was, I mean, he was an ass in the beginning of his movie. He was just, like, I'm Thor, I'm unstoppable. But you take somebody down a peg, and then they go on a redemption arc. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love redemption arcs, but when we see the villains go down and like you said, she was a stone cold killer.
She had no problem murking people.
She was a stone cold killer, but it says a story that it sends a bad message. And whether it's a younger audience or any audience watching this, it sends a bad message. That message being, hey, it doesn't matter who you've killed or what you've done, no matter what darkness or how much, or to borrow a parlance from Black Widow, it doesn't matter how much red you have on your ledger.
Damn, I was just thinking that.
You can come back, but that's not true. That's not real life.
Well, no, and even with Black Widow, she never really got any redemption, because even Bucky did that within Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Well, but here's the thing. Widow knew the one thing she could do in Endgame, or in Endgame, was to sacrifice herself. It was her way of trying to get some of that red off of her ledger. It wouldn't redeem things, but it would help bring back out, no matter how many people she killed through her time as as the Black Widow. Think about it. How many people, by her giving her sacrifice, she played a part in restoring half the universe. Again, it's a redemption story. You get again, another assassin. Hello. There was that. There were some things on this that I liked, though. Again, I completely agree that Native Americans don't have enough. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day about Yellowstone. They're like, oh, there's Native Americans in that show. I'm like, yes, because it takes place on Native American land. you have ranches in Texas. I mean, you have a lot of reservations out there. You kind of have to have that. We don't see natural. I mean, a natural. What's the word I'm looking for? Natural plots, natural stories with them.
You're starting to now, like
Shout
Darkwing.
shout out to GI Joe back in the day, giving a spirit.
I was
You
thinking
know?
about that. Yeah.
So I mean, we should have a lot more than that. We've had some representations, but not enough. I mean, we've seen it in hell. How about Forge?
Forge was in your, so you had Forge in your animated series.
Yes.
You had Forge in the remake, which was great. But then we also got Alex Proudstar, or Warpath.
Yeah.
And we got him. The only way we saw him was in the X-Men movies, Days of Future Past.
Yes.
And then we saw, what was it? Danny.
Very
Danny,
small parts though.
Exactly.
The
And then
thing.
you see Danny in the New Mutants, which was a complete box office flop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like we get them, but then they're not prevalent.
But
and
also
we need more of it.
Here's another sliver for that. Okay, double standards when it comes to Disney, because AMC had a TV show that featured a couple actors, one actor who's completely deaf, and they're using sign language, and this person never actually used words. That was The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't get any clouts for having anyone who was deaf mute, who relied on sign language. And this was an actual actress who that's how she communicated, because that's how her life was, and she had that role. God, was it? I'm blanking on his first name. Daryl Mitchell, comedian, actor, been in so many movies over the decades. Was in a car accident, restricted to a wheelchair. He got on The Walking Dead. Nobody batted an eye on that. There's double standards. Oh, Disney's doing it. So I think it was like, oh, well, they're doing it. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, one network can do it, and another network, they're kind of shunning it. But again, I think also part of it is, and I don't want to come off as an asshole to everybody, but I think some of it comes off of the haters are uneducated people who are a bit closed-minded, who maybe have only been exposed to certain things in their life, so they can't see the possibility of that.
And that's sad, because you know how many people hate on Black Panther, you know how many people hate on things like that. And just for your edification, when we talk about Indian, we're not talking about Hindu. We're
talking about Native American.
Native, yes, we did get an Indian Spider-Man, but that's alternate universe Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and I'm happy we got him because I love the figure.
But there were like the family things. I kind of like some of the family stories, but some of it just felt like, okay, we have to create frustration. We have to create family turmoil. You don't have to. Again, the grandmother saying like, here, take her away, like not wanting anything to do with her. Now, I'm not going to say there's not one grandmother out there that would be that way, because we all know there are some out there, but your atypical grandmother, if that's her only connection to her daughter, it doesn't make one damn bit of sense. Why would you do that?
And especially for the Native American culture, I mean, that's like the family.
If you flip it, if it was like a grandfather not wanting to have anything to do with his grandson, even if you flip it that way, I can't see that necessarily happening, because you that's your blood connection.
Well, I think it could. I think it could if the character was like a selfish a-hole. If the character was like a drunk person, like had a substance issue,
yes,
then I could be like, all right, they're like, because I've seen that in real life.
But
if the person's all like warm and like, oh, like, let's draw together, like they're not going to let the gangbanger dad take the kid without a fight.
Dre, it almost feels like a twisted Marvel version of Gilmore Girls.
Oh God! If the wife was alive, the wife was awake, she would roll right now. She's like, "What? Oh my God!"
Think about it.
Tomorrow,
huh? I'm just saying. The powers, I don't think were necessary. I think that was their way of trying to symbolize that she was good now. But I mean, I mean, how good can a villain be? If they turn good, they still have the capacity for the evil. I mean, we see this. We see heroes. If a hero is nothing but a hero nonstop, depending on their brutality, if you will, they can still cross the line. Given the right set of the right set of circumstances, any good person can cross the line. Okay, anyone who's seen the first episode of Daredevil, you know what I'm talking about. I mean,
not even just that. Think of any movie that's talked about this, like the Batman movie,
yeah,
where it was Joker's one of the great Joker speeches to Gordon. All it takes is one bad day, and it changes a good person bad. Batman has said it too. You stay long enough to either be the hero. What was it? Be the hero or
live long enough to be the villain.
Die the hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Now, a couple things I liked about this show. I did like the redemption, but it's the trope that was rubbing me the wrong way. It's I agree. This has been photocopied a lot of times. I liked when her prosthetic was rebuilt.
Yes, that was cool.
Okay, I was digging that. There were some nice characters in here that I really liked. I was kind of rooting for. Fisk, it just felt like a Marvel episode of Jerry Springer. The whole, like, his relationship with her, I'm like, this just seems like if there was a Marvel Jerry Springer, this would be it. And it's like, I really didn't care for the fact that, like, I personally would have liked it if it was some other Marvel villain. I think I would have liked that better. Okay, like if it was a rival of Fisk that was controlling this town.
Tombstone. You could have brought in Tombstone.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
anyone else.
There's a lot of things you could have done, but they wanted to keep that Fisk connection because I think partially they wanted to keep Fisk present in our minds. Okay, but again, I think also this is a sign of Disney's failings when it comes to they're trying. The thing is, we've seen this with Disney too many times, where they're trying to tick boxes. They're trying to tick boxes. Take a story from the comics and write it naturally. Don't force things into it. But the thing is, I think the powers we could easily done without, like both of you have said. Some of it, like this could have been maybe a 2-hour movie, like you said. They kind of stretched it out a bit long.
Should have been a movie.
Okay, they were stretching it out. I still think that this character, I would love to see more with this character. I want to see. I would have liked to see, I don't know, a few different things happen, but it just, I don't know. It felt very rocky. It felt like you're trying to wonder, like, okay, where is this going? But not in a good way. You're like, okay, we've seen some predictable tropes. What else are we going to see next? You know, it wasn't anything that, I mean, I enjoyed the show. I watched every episode, looking forward to it. But again, there were tropes and that's the thing. Sometimes we tend to overanalyze things at times, but also when we're seeing failures, okay, we've seen that the wokeness, you know, I can't say it. I can't say the name of that movie. You know what I'm talking about, Dre. that certain movie, Eternals. I mean, that's woke city right there, but that's a whole other episode. But I enjoy this. I mean, I enjoy the action of it. It's just that some of the writing could have been better. I just think that it didn't feel natural. And to me, that's one thing that throws me off is if something feels forced in the writing, if it doesn't feel natural, I don't blame the actors. I don't blame the performers. I blame the writing and the execution of the show, aka the showrunner. Because if the showrunner, you know, they have to be the guiding force when it comes to writers, in my opinion, at least in my head. So that's my whole take on it. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I appreciated it for what it was. But again, the tropes or the things that were unnecessary.
Beast, when we get you on this show, I'm gonna throw some verbal. I'm gonna text you later and slap you. That is some bullshit. That movie was
okay. I think we're banning him from the channel now.
We're not really banning.
We're putting him in. We're putting him in timeout.
You're gonna get. I'm gonna give you an earful later.
No, We should take away his wrench just for that.
No, I leave his bench. But I think
Ricardo, you want some too.
Ricardo. All right, so I'm gonna kind of wrap this up so we can get to the next one, because the next one is another one I want to get into, and I think it's gonna be a lot spicier for a lot, especially with Ricardo in here. It's almost apropos we go to the next one. This series, when we say woke, a lot of people were upset that it was a Native American woman. That's 100% not Hispanic, but she's Native American mixed in the show. She's, is an amputee. She's deaf and mute, and a lot of people were like saying, "Well, we didn't need a hero or somebody." I was like, she was perfect for what she was doing, and I think that's a lot of people cannot stand having a female lead in a show. So we'll leave it at that. And let's move to the next one, because that's going to lead us up. What I just said is going to lead us really into something.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Star Wars contents of this episode.
Oh, yeah. And it's the only Star Wars content. So I'm going to go into this because I was had very mixed reviews. And when I remember when I saw Archer's review of, I think the first few episodes, he had no qualms tearing this shit up. And he had General Kenobi doing it too. A lot of the true, and I'm going to go with some of the real, and I looked at other Star Wars fans that were not people that I knew personally, and they were just destroying how bad this show was. So for lore's sake, if you did not know or read the novels or the graphic novels or the manga, this is called the High Republic era of Star Wars. This takes place about 1,000 years before we actually get to the actual era. The actual prequel series. Some people argue it should be 100 years because of things, but if you read the comic books, if you played the actual Star Wars MMORPG that was in the early 2000s, that was the High Republic era, where it was pre the Galactic Republic and everything else. So get over that. If you did not know that, do your due diligence in your homework, folks. Like Archer says, have receipts. I do. Read the books, and you'll know what the background is. Now, I went to Rotten Tomatoes because every other website gave this show high reviews, and I know that I'll stop here because Dave totally ADHD'd it.
There you go. High Republic right there. We got the video game, the books. There's your research, guys.
Just Google.
Google it now.
And not watch people like General Kenobi, who I know who has done a very in-depth deep dive into the whole concept of the High Republic lore and knows it way better than I do, because I'm a Star Wars fan, but not that big. Now, the critics on many websites, IMDb, Metacritic, IGN gave this show tons of great reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, one reason I actually loved their site is because they actually take fan reviews as well, and they call them the popcorn meter. So those are the people that are not paid by them, that just are like me or you, that can go get an account on their website for free and write a review. And they actually factor that as a number, and they collect that data, which I think is great. But 78% loved this show. Now, I'm going to say some of the good things about this show. Our first time ever having an Asian man lead as a Jedi. I'm not going to get into Dave made me look at the numbers here. But imagine the first time that we're getting a guy who spoke no English, learned English for his love of Star Wars to become a Jedi. Squid Games, if you loved Squid Games, I know I did. I absolutely love Squid Games. Second season, not so much. Part one, anyway. He did not speak a lick of English. And when Disney came to him, they asked him, hey, can you do this role? He learned English in 3 months to do the role and did a damn good job. I will give him his flowers. He did a damn good job. Now, the story behind this show. Obviously, everybody that knows is twins that are of both the light and dark side of the Force were born on an abandoned planet to what we now know as they call them Force witches, but they're actually not really Force witches. It's kind of actually magic. They don't use the Force.
Sorry,
Suppose,
sorry, can I just interject on one
yeah,
thing?
interject.
Technically, they're not twins. They're supposed to be the same person.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the same person. That because people argue that they're twins, and I know that. So it's the same person split, and they're in both. It's one represents the dark side of the Force, and one represents the light side.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Now, what's interesting is if Star Wars, the new movies, took this, that's actually the story of the twins and their brother. That's Han and Luke's. Han and Leia's kids. They're actually the twins, and then
Han and Luke had kids.
I know. I said that.
I think that was a fan fiction.
It must have been that Yowie fan fiction. So they have their kids, and then their son, their baby, is the one that's supposed to be the new character that brings them all up, and that's in Shadows of the Empire, which we'll never get. So again, read the books because that's where you'll get that from, and it's fantastic. Probably some of the best Star Wars we'll never see animated or done live action, which it should have been. But I digress. So this is kind of a redemption arc of sorts, a hidden mystery of sorts. This one was not released all at once, much like Echo. Echo, we got all 5 episodes in one shot. This was released over several weeks. We got the first 2 episodes, and then it was done up until my birthday. Now, again, it had some quasi-star power, had some really cool Jedi, and everybody kind of has, it felt like Memento. For any of you guys that have seen that movie, it felt like they're telling the story backwards, and in every episode you're getting pieces as it's kind of like the episode was split in half. So you're getting 20 minutes of backstory and 20 minutes of what's happening concurrently. And did I love the villain? Yes and no. Did I like the fact that we had tons of representation in this show? Yes. I'm Hispanic. I want to see people of color in TV. I'm sorry for anybody that watches this. I'm going to get on my soapbox. I'm tired of seeing people because I grew up where it was always a white person that was going to be the person I had to see. It was very few people of color. This show gave me that in spades, and it succeeded in that only. And I'm going to preface in that only. Does it give me any sense of the High Republic era? No, it doesn't give me any background on what else is going on, except for it focuses on this particular group of characters and the Force Witches. And I wish they gave me more about the Force Witches because that would make more sense because they're in Ashoka and they're all over the galaxy. It would have made a lot more sense for you to focus on that and then why the Jedi had an issue. But no. So again, what did the fans expect? Exactly that. A story taking place in the High Republic era. What did we get? Like I said, a diverse cast and a story detailing how the Force split between one person into 2 people, dark side and the light side, and it's a cover-up. So if you haven't watched it, I gave you the watch. You don't have to watch it. Don't watch it. And I'm saying this after I put myself through, and I watched it every week. It was not a great show. Writing was terrible. The monologues were horrible. The acting was Carrie Ann Moss. That woman she's great in what she needs to do in sci-fi, not this. Lee killed it. Learned English. Loved his character. Could not understand why he was so perplexed and angry until they weirdly kind of go into the backstory. The girl, I could break this down into a whole bunch of factors. I got a Wookiee Jedi. That made me happy. I'm going to talk about one of the good things. I got a Wookiee Jedi. I loved it because you could only play a Wookiee Jedi in the video games. To get a Wookiee Jedi, man, shooting the Force out, loved it. Want his lightsaber. Galaxy's Edge, I'm looking at you. When I go in December, give me his fucking lightsaber because I want that lightsaber. Now, that's all I'm going to say positive about this show. Other than that, it was not a great show. Badly written. Do I care about Force Witches having kids? Can I point this out to the true Star Wars fans? Metachlorines impregnated a woman. Micro cells from around the galaxy went into a random woman's womb to create Anakin Skywalker. We don't bat an eye at that. We say, oh man, that's like Jesus. Jesus was like that. But then you get two women, they birthed this little girl. Oh, no, you can't do that. The Force doesn't work that way.
I think you should do that in the Heath Ledger Joker voice.
It's like I wish like you go a little crazy. Two women, they have a baby girl and woo, they go crazy. Why? I don't care. It's fantasy in a sci-fi setting with magic and laser swords. And you gave a shit about two women saying that it's all about the LGBTQ plus. Listen, I have several friends and family members that are members of that. And they hated the show too. Not for that. For the bad acting, writing. But when you go attack a whole community because you're a bigot and want to get on you want to get on your social media platforms and start saying this show was terrible, you're a fucking idiot. I'm not going to paint myself nice on that one. You're idiots that said that. If you want to comment on our video, please. I'm going to borrow a line from what Archer said on yesterday. Any press is good press that comes to the channel. So who gives a shit? I hate idiots and bigots. The show was bad based on bad writing. Star Wars has had that, and Archer said that on his show too. He said the show suffered from bad writing. Most Star Wars shows have. Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Andor are the three best shows that have come out of the Star Wars universe. Fight me on that, because that's the truth. And I'm going to end on that, Archer.
Clone Wars?
No, and non-animated.
Visions?
I'll clarify. Non-animated.
Okay.
Archer.
I mean, well said. For sure.
Thank you.
So somebody made a comment once that it was a politician, but they made a comment that, you know, as somebody who is a person of color, we have to try a lot harder to start at a certain, we have to try harder to get the opportunity to have the opportunity. We have to try harder to show up to the dance and prove we can do the same thing as the next person. So for that reason, it is when you have a show that determines we're going to go as far. I hate using the word woke, but again, there's no other phrase to describe it in the context. When you have a show that's like, we're going to go as woke as possible, you need to be the best written show. You need to be so good that people who hate it, because they're bigots, can't say shit. They look dumb for saying it's a dumb show. Mm-hmm. So this show, I would argue, even needed to be better written than Kenobi needed to be better written. Like Kenobi was we loved Kenobi, a lot of us. It was campy, it was cheesy. The plot didn't really make a lot of sense, but they put more money into Andor than they did Kenobi. Like, that doesn't make any sense. This show, which they spent a lot of money on, needed to have the best writing of any Star Wars show to succeed, because out of the gate, you were going to offend people that just get offended by anything. Mm-hmm. Like that's the nature of the game, you know, to address that part. What you described as far as being happy to have representation in the show, I disagree because they gave us shit. Like, I want representation in my shows, which you and I agree on.
Mhm.
But because of the product they gave me, I'm like, I don't even know if I want that anymore. If you're gonna just like the sales pitch you just gave on this show is what the sales pitch probably was in Lucasfilm. And somebody was like, I trust you to do it. I don't even need to read it. And it's like, no. Now, let me defend from the other angle, because this is what I'm probably more passionate about. There were people that used to even make toy content that we used to be cool with, that when the show was announced and it was established that there would be, lesbian characters on the show, they were like, I'm canceling my Disney Plus. Star Wars is done. Star Wars is lost. Star Wars is whatever. They weren't the only one, but somebody who came to mind.
Of course.
Now, my argument defending the other side of that coin is why, and this is if Star Wars Theory and I are ever able to have a conversation about this is what I would say to him. Why is this show the final straw? They have jacked up so many properties already, so many shows, so many movies. They have effed up so many times. Why is this the one that to you is the final straw? To me, that makes no sense, other than you might be bigoted in some sort of way. Because there's no way you get through Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Book of Boba Fett, Mando Season 3, and then you get to this show and you're like, they messed up. No way that's how you... There's no way you get to that point.
Wait, Andor Season 1. We gotta go back, because you have to go through everything you said from all the final, the last trilogy, into Mando 1, 2, and 3. Then we got Ahsoka. We finished off with Ahsoka Season 1, Andor Season 1, and then this. Kenobi, I'll throw in. I kind of forgot about Kenobi because it was so bad. But you know what? Like, it's like you said, I love Ewan McGregor, but I didn't like the show, but I didn't hate the show. But again, when you say exactly like the failures of some of those properties, really,
which is majority.
Exactly, fair majority. But then this is the one because of the bigotry of that. Like, Skeleton Crew, I haven't even gotten to, and that's a whole episode in and of itself because that show.
Yeah,
but I agree with you, so I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Now to the things that you mentioned that you liked about the show, we got a Wookiee Jedi in Clone Wars, and
I forgot about
he was great. That's I don't remember the lightsaber the Wookiee in this show had, but that's the one I want because he introduced the nature hilt that it's made out of wood primarily. Came back in Bad Batch, so that part I was for. I was like, oh, we're getting another Wookiee Jedi. Awesome. I hope it's the same guy. Obviously, it wouldn't be because Clone Wars is after this. They nerfed him off screen, and then we got the flashback eventually. They just did nothing with it. They did nothing with it. They advertised the show as a High Republic show, thousands of years or whatever before the events of A New Hope, which you pointed out. But then they proceeded to make this show only 100 years before New Hope. So close, in fact, that there are aliens and characters in the show that are in the movies we saw. So what's the point of even doing a prequel that's supposed to be so far removed? We have new characters. If you're going to include characters that we've seen in other properties. What's his face that was in the council? And then, of course...
No, and I agree with you. Like, that made no sense. Like, that was where one of the biggest things I was like, because I looked forward to the High Republic, because I remember reading the comic books from Free Comic Book Day when Marvel was like, hey, we're doing the High Republic era comic book series. And I was like, ooh, this is really cool. Then the Japanese were like, well, we're going to do a manga version of this. And then Star Wars, then they did Visions where it was more manga-fied. And it was all these stories during this era, but from different perspectives. And I loved it. And then we got this show, and it felt like exactly what you said. Why?
Yeah. but I just think, just so we don't harp on this one too long, I think that the show needed to be good, and they hired the wrong person to do it. Somebody who already people aren't crazy about in general because she was the assistant of Harvey Weinstein.
Mhm.
Um,
Wah,
so
wah, wah.
you kind of you set this show up for failure, and at the end of the day, it did it do some damage? Sure. Did it do more damage than Last Jedi? Probably not. I'd say Last Jedi actually was probably a net positive because people have never been so passionate about Star Wars than they did off of Last Jedi, like making so much hate content on it. Um, but I thought that the lightsaber fight when the stranger fought all of them is a top three
Yes.
lightsaber fight in all Star Wars. But I'm happy the show's gone. You know, plot was dumb. The twin thing was dumb. How he let one of them die, or he thought he let them die without using the force to just levitate both of them, didn't make any sense. And the one thing I'll disagree with you on is I also, when I found out that he learned English for the sake of the show, I was like, you look and you sound like somebody who just learned English for the sake of the show. And it just again, this is our first attempt at an Asian actor being a lead character in the Star Wars property and a Jedi. We ended up getting two in the show, but this is the first time we're going to get a lead Asian character in Star Wars. And you were just like, oh, that other show was really popular. Let's bring him in. And ended up just, I don't even remember his name. It is so unmemorable. The
I have his
performance.
figure. I sadly I bought his figure because I was like, I didn't want to give the property any money, but like I said, this will probably be the one and only time I'll ever get this as a character. That's a human-esque character. So I wanted to buy it as that
No,
tribute.
and that Black Series line from the Acolyte, those are good Jedi to have in the background of a photo if you just want to have like a Jedi army or something, like
Sure.
that. It fits the bill for that. Absolutely terrible show. I think 19's too high of a score on the show.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah, but everything you said is what I do want in a Star Wars show, and what you said is a good pitch for a show to have representation. But unfortunately, the people who also would say that have the ability to make a show don't have people there to check them, and they sometimes they get off the rails so far it doesn't bring back it. A show like this only reaffirms the fandom menace that Star Wars is too woke. It doesn't do anything to bring them back. The Reva storyline in Kenobi, it reinforces their negativity. And Disney and some of these people have even said, we don't want you in our fan base if you're going to be negative, which I've seen those racist comments. So I'm not even trying to win back a racist. But at the end of the day, creating a show with the purpose of being divisive does nothing for the fan base. But then also, because it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, Disney still makes money on Star Wars. So it doesn't matter how many shitty shows they put out. It's bad on the hardcore fan side of things, but on the casual side of things, the last Star Wars property that a casual person knows is there was a show one time that had Baby Yoda in it, and I'm still going to pay money to go to Galaxy's Edge. So,
and now and what was it? And they just announced for anybody that did not know this, as of I think Wednesday of this week,
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker is officially in California's
yeah, they announced it
version
today.
of Batu. Yeah, he's in
Limited time.
California's.
But it's the Mando version because they still don't have any OT characters there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I know, and we're eventually supposed to. I know Deadpool is no longer on Avengers Campus, but Star-Lord still is. And for those of you that missed out, you had like a limited window to get story time with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Dave?
Okay. Again, one of the things that rubbed me the wrong way was Oh, yet again, we're talking twins.
Yeah.
Because again, those that don't know, twins were talked about in comics. They're talked about in the books, the novels. Like Dre and Archer both said, you know, Han and Leia had twins. Sadly, we're probably never going to see that in live action, which it is what it is. The whole thing that the whole cover up and conspiracy within the Jedi. I mean, one that just it doesn't make any to me. It doesn't sit like it. There's no logic. I mean, if anyone ever read any High Republic, or even if you go by the prequel movies, the council would never have tolerated anything like that. I mean, this kind of goes against the Jedi Code itself. Carrie Ann Moss.
Sorry, could you say one thing?
Yeah.
Because I hate that I'm interrupting, but
Please don't.
these the Force creating this person and splitting them into two does two things that, if anything, reaffirms the belief of the Jedi. So they should want to tell other Jedi about it. One, it tells and it reaffirms that the Force is so strong it can create life.
Its own bounds.
And two, it can create its own balance, and it always needs a balance. And to your point, there's always twins in Star Wars because there always has to be a light and a dark, and they have to balance things out. So the show literally was like, oh, we're going to take the idea of twins, but we're not going to look into the reason why or what people would do with that information. So I'm sorry.
And I want to go one step further. I want to just factor this in, as we also know that in Ahsoka we are introduced to our first Grey Jedi in Balin, R.I.P. Balin was a true Grey Jedi because he did not choose to act on the Force out of greed. He was a Jedi that did not convert to the dark side. He went to the middle, and he was one of his apprentice. She was very dark side, but that's what Grey Jedis are. If you follow the tenets of the Grey Jedis,
I might disagree, but continue.
Oh, we can have tea. I love it.
I mean, there's arguments for hours about Qui-Gon being gray. So we won't go there. So anyway, but yeah, he was a great Jedi, but that's a whole other discussion for another episode. The whole conspiracy thing that did not sit well with me. It didn't feel like the Jedi way. That in itself rubbed me the wrong way. As far as there being twins, it's a trope we've seen several times. That just it felt like, okay, here we go, we're telegraphing, or we're just making copies,
paint by
so
numbers,
to speak. But there were things that I did like. Okay, I like the Padawan played by our X-23 actress Danielle Keene, or Daphne Keene. Here's real talk. I like the interaction between her and the one sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And there was even hints of like, hey, there could have been a friendship or more of it, and I would have been perfectly fine with that.
Yep.
But people were freaking out at the subtle hint of the little hints of that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's two people from kind of different backgrounds being put in a situation, and I like I didn't even know that was Daphne Keene until like the end. And here's a hot take: I did not start watching this until there was 2 episodes left.
Yeah, Dave was late.
I was like, the thing was, like, I heard people right out the gate. I heard people trashing the hell out of it. Star Wars Theory, obviously, very well known, and so many other people. A lot of people in our toy community, and you had haters everywhere. Because if we see something that, if there's even hints of something, one person doesn't like, they get on a soapbox, they start talking about it, and it could spread. What does fear lead to? Hate. Leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And yes, us fans are suffering with Star Wars content right now. There were things that I liked. I mean, I liked the concept of the witches because it kind of, to me, this is after me playing, Jedi, Fallen Jedi, the Night Sisters. I was hoping that this was going to be kind of like the Night Sisters. It wasn't, you know. Um, the Now the stranger played by Manny, and I'm probably going to butcher the last name. Was it Jacinto with the J though? Jacinto, who I know from The Good Place.
Yeah, loved him in The Good
Jason
Place.
from The Good Place. I'm like, he played this idiot kind of stoner surfer type, and here he is. He's playing his total badass, and I enjoyed it. I loved his character. I love how badass he was. I wanted more. I mean, there was hope in this series, and it fell flat. It just fell flat. There was potential everywhere, but again, it fell flat. It's like you had so much potential. It's like Obi-Wan, Anakin, you were the chosen one. It's like Acolyte had potential. It was going to give us. It was our first live action High Republic. We were also they're going to do a High Republic series. Everybody was freaking out. Now, mind you, I'm rusty with the High Republic. I read the books like back in the 90s. So I really don't remember everything like people who are more experts on it. I mean, anyone that wants to see any kind of expert Star Wars content, it's Kenobi, General Kenobi. I mean, his bunker, he's got all the Star Wars content there. But again, he probably would know more about this. But when it comes to this show, I'm like, we heard, Carrie Ann Moss is in this. There's so much potential, and it again fell flat. It fell flat, and honestly, the conclusion of the show and how certain characters met their ultimate
demise
resolution. I was going to say resolution, but yeah, demise. They got what was coming to them. They got what was coming to them. I mean,
Madam Web. This is like the Madam Web of Star Wars.
I haven't watched Madam Web yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
Okay, so this is the Madam Web. Then good. Don't watch it. Don't watch Madam Web.
I literally know. I know everything that happens because I've watched people dissect it and make fun of it. But
I've heard of certain things in it that just like it kind of cringe. It's Sony trying to do Marvel movies. Let's be honest. The only exception is maybe
and this is somebody trying to make Star Wars content that failed miserably at it.
Well, there's one person I blame for all the poor Star Wars content, but do I really need to say her initials? KK, Kathleen Kennedy.
I mean, we all know it.
I mean,
say it.
But I mean,
for the uneducated,
that's the thing. This show had so much potential, and it fell flat. It could have been so much more. I mean, the sisters. Again, I can't necessarily blame the actress, but I could, because she did go on several tirades on social media. There was one famous one where I saw where she was live on Instagram, but she was kind of like trying to fight back the haters, but she was coming off very with her own hate while she's like doing her hair. I mean, if you're going to address the public, I mean, are we just a distraction while you're fixing up your braids while you're doing your hair?
But to be fair, there's some pretty wild comments in her.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I said this to Dre. In 2020, and this was 2024 at the time. There's still a lot of hate. There's still a lot of ignorant ass people out there that just won't open up their minds to possibilities. And when we get that, I think that also, I mean, without that, would the show have been better? I don't know that it wouldn't have been better, but it could have been better received. Because we've seen some movies and shows that were hated at first, but have become cult classics. I mean, come on, how many people love Rocky Horror Picture Show? The concept is kind of crazy and out there, but people love it. Buckaroo Banzai, it's a cult classic. I mean,
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Think of the original concept of RoboCop. I've been watching the documentary episodes on Amazon about RoboCop. The whole concept is so way out there, but it it is a cult classic. A lot of people love it. There's so many things that are cult classics. They were poorly received, but now they're praised now. This could have had potential of maybe kind of surviving. I mean, hell, Solo. A lot of people damned it. I enjoyed the hell out of Solo.
I loved Solo.
Okay, but a lot of people damned it. They were making like my whole negative thing about Solo was how the actor was doing that. He was trying to do like this weird voice, and it just didn't sound like Harrison Ford at all. I don't know, but that's my only gripe about it.
I do think with Solo, it was too close to Last Jedi. I think if it didn't come out at the same time as Last Jedi or within 6 months of Last Jedi, we would have given it a better chance.
Yeah. And
but what about but see, if you looked at Solo, how many people bitched and moaned like, oh, look at the robot. She's in love with a pansexual Lando Calrissian because Lando Calrissian's pansexual and he doesn't, and who cares about it? We all know he was a player. He's a pimp.
But that's
hello, Leia.
Here's the thing.
I mean,
that's when they take it too far. Like that because here's the thing. At that point in time, when that movie came out, I was consuming all of the content in the realm of go woke, go broke. I was bought in because I was so mad at Last Jedi. There are TV shows that I now watch that I'm like, you asshole, like if you had just ignored that content and watched it, you would have actually enjoyed yourself. But I didn't because I was in that world. I was in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So when thinking about Solo and when they did that with Lando Calrissian and the robot, or the droid, I was like, even in hindsight now, I'm like, you didn't have to do that. That's one where I'm like,
I mean,
you guys were just like, let's see how far we can go. And did you have to? Like, you didn't have to.
I can see your point with that, but also let's be honest. Lando's the most suave ass mofo in Star Wars that even the droids are swooning for him. Let's be honest. I think that was kind of the joke.
But he was swooning over her in that movie. He was the one that was like, oh my god, like it wasn't.
Yeah, when she was in pieces, that was like, I mean, that's like your best friend, and but yeah, I mean, it's,
let me put I'll put something in perspective for the Colt 45. Yeah, I'll put something in perspective of where Marvel and Disney was at that time, where they were leaning into the shit. Where was it? Here's the thing: do it when it's necessary. Like introduce diversity and introduce. Again, I hate the word. Introduce woke when necessary, but they took it too far. The droid romance I thought was too far. But my number one all time with Disney and Star Wars, and sorry that we've taken your spot, Dave. I'll rescind my time. I'll rescind my time after.
Huh? What?
When Marvel announced a new younger Avenger team featuring Snowflake and Safe Space. Like when they announced those two with their team, I was like, you're literally making fun of the shit now. Like you're going so far that it's almost like parody. And sure enough, that comic series made it all of maybe one or two issues. Because it was just like even people that are consuming woke content on purpose are like, this is too much. Mm-hmm. Literally too much. So
Freeform. This is going to be done more because Freeform. I mean, the Runaways was great.
Was it Runaways? Is that what it was?
No, there's Runaways, and then there was Cloak and Dagger, and then they had the crossover. Cloak and Dagger was their like, let's have the black guy and the white girl, like they can't be separated because they're drawn to each other by this weird connection.
But I don't think anybody had issue with that. Nobody cared about that one.
Nobody cared about that. But the Runaways had like the parents that were abusive, the adopted girl, the bisexual girl.
It did that, but I don't know if you're look at Dave. Pull it up. Pull up. Marvel, Safe Space, and Snowflake. because I think we're talking. I know Runaways. Like I
Like,
actually.
am I missing something? Because
You're missing it.
I'm happy now. Like I want
Dre,
to know.
you're missing it all.
You're missing it.
This excites
Yeah, yeah.
me. Like I
How
want to
dare
know.
you?
I did a whole video
see.
on it. I had to delete it because I was trying to like purge my channel of like angry videos.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I love
was
the
a-
angry video.
finding
I was
Reddit
legit-
here. Let me see here.
I was legit on I was going out with this girl, and I was like, "Look at this shit! Look at blah blah." And again, a year later, I was like, "Bro, what's wrong with you? Like you're literally talking to somebody
This?
who doesn't give a shit about." Yes,
What?
you never saw this?
What?
It's a whole team. They made a whole team.
This is DC?
No, it's Marvel.
Oh, why is
No.
Peacemaker in the bottom pictures then?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So wait, this is the new Warriors?
Yeah.
Oh, it's New Warriors. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020. April 15th of 2020 says here.
It's a whole team. The whole team is literally every
Oh
character
my
is some sort of like
Wokeness.
woke trope. And I was like, what are you doing? Like
What?
you're
I
you're
want a
going so
cheeseburger.
far that you are once again proving the bigots right. That's what's happening.
Wait. Oh my god. I am so glad this missed my brain because I am
Archer, you broke Dre. Are you happy now?
So
Broke Dre.
so for example, she is was it DC? I thought it was Marvel.
it says the new
It's
Warriors.
Marvel. Yeah, Marvel New
Marvel's
Warriors. Yeah.
New Warriors.
So you had
here's
the
some
so
better
they
images.
so the going left to right here, Snowflake was I think a lesbian, and then Safe Space was pan, and then the one in the middle was like hacker or these were all plays on words.
Looks like
that were
emo Ben 10.
yeah, he was like some like over the top maybe autistic kid, I think.
Okay.
And then the girl on the right was like mad overweight Mexican girl something. She's there on the left on your screen.
And then the demon person.
The emo, the super emo.
God,
But
the goth demon person.
Yeah. But they all were like a trope of like what people literally are dealing with. And that's where I was like, you're going too far. Like you're going to the point that people
Be
are
negative.
like, yeah, like it's to the point that, like they're making fun of that audience. Like,
but why would you destroy the new Warriors? Because the new Warriors was such a great team. You had Speedball. You had
because you're trying to again, I hate the word. We're trying to show how woke we are. So here are these characters that represent us, the writers at Marvel. I remember they did a whole release, and they had to turn the comments off on the video. They had to the thumbs up or thumbs down button was like at that point starting to transition where you couldn't see the number anymore. People were like bombing this thing, and
wow, I have to now see this.
It was a joke. It was like one of those where I was like, "Yo, it's one of those things where like business takes over, and it no longer holds its meaning."
Holy,
Yeah.
I am completely floored.
Broke Dre now. Hold on.
Like I did not know about this, and now I want to know.
Yeah, if you can find the YouTube video, like you guys should watch it. It's
going to.
So bad where they're justifying releasing that comic series.
And here's the interesting thing: if you go back to, I want to say it was like the mid '90s when they were like, oh, Alpha Flight has the first, a homosexual superhero.
Yeah,
which wasn't true at that time, but it was that Marvel wanted to, because homosexuality was now becoming more prevalent. They wanted to start, and I'm not trying to offend anybody in the LGBTQ plus community by me saying this. I mean, I'm a supporter. I'm a very big supporter of your community, and I was actually offended for you guys that they were like, why aren't we mentioning these other characters? Like, why are we not talking about iconic characters that were? And then suddenly the 2000s come in and the 2010s come in, and it's like you erased all of that greatness that was lighting the path for you guys in the comics. And that goes even with Native Americans, Hispanics, blacks. We were all starting to get our foot in the door, and then suddenly it's like, nope, Blade, nope, this, nope, that, and then like everybody got messed up and pushed around. And oh my goodness, we will. That's an episode in and of itself. I want to get away from this show and really get into what kind of, now that I'm talking about people of color again, I want to actually talk about the next one, because this movie.
Well, sorry, we
cut Dave off. Dave, I'm so sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave.
What was that, Lorena?
Oh God, that's a deep cut. Literally, no pun intended.
Just don't throw me in a grass field somewhere with dogs nearby.
No, they didn't make him. They did not. First off, I'm going to correct you, Beast. They did not make him gay. That is the son of Clark and Lois in the current comic book. Before, wasn't it Jonathan? It's Jonathan Kent, and they made him bisexual. His boyfriend is gay, and they made his boyfriend a superhero as well. And that was them to do this before the Absolute line. DC's been on that woke train a lot longer than Marvel has. And they did that, but the way they did it, and I am a very big fan of DC Comics in this regard, they really pay an homage to Black History Month, to Hispanic Heritage Month. I have great comic book covers I've used in my classroom, because when I was actively teaching, I had kids that were in all of those communities, including myself, that wanted to have that representation and see themselves in as heroes or villains in the comic books. And I think that was something Marvel started embracing it in the last 5 years. DC's been doing it for like 15 years. And I think that's why I'm glad. And especially now that they own Milestone, we're getting more African-American artists and African-American, characters. And then Godhood Comics is really springing up some great stuff too. So they didn't, and we're not, Young Justice is a whole thing. That's on another show, because I can go down a rabbit hole.
Now, my final words on Acolyte is, Disney, if you want to make an Old Republic, take one of the existing damn novels and use that as your Bible for the show. Okay? That's all I have to say about that. If you're going to make an old Republic, you have literally years, decades of the novels to tap into.
They don't want to pay the money for it.
Exactly. Especially since, I'll just preface this for Dave. For anybody that doesn't know, Lucas recently, and I say recently, about 30 years ago, Lucas came out because several fans were writing fan fiction. So Lucas wanted to make money. So the way Lucas wanted to make money was, he said, hey, I will let the fan fiction, if I could get and he took a 10% cut, giving the actual writer and artist 90% of the actual credit and funding to continue the story. So that's why we have stories about Thrawn. That's why we got the stories about, Rebels. We've gotten the High Republic storylines, the Old Republic storylines. But he considers them official canon if they make a certain amount of money back then. So I just wanted to preface that.
And we're going to preface this into the third slide now, or the fourth slide.
No, we're going third, because I don't want to go into the fourth slide.
This is the third slide, technically speaking.
Oh God. Yeah, I hate
you mean the third content. There you go.
All right. So the fourth content we're gonna leave off, because sadly Archer didn't see that. And you can't have an opinion on something you didn't see. So we're gonna leave that one. And this one is actually one that really I took a lot of offense to what people said about this film. And I'm gonna say this because Dave has known, as long as Dave has known me, the line that I sent him the video this week. I think I even sent it to Archer. My absolute favorite line in a Disney Plus TV show was, I'm a black man wearing the stars and stripe, carrying a shield that doesn't belong to me. I have no powers, and I know how people look at me, but I do this because I have to. That is powerful. It gives me chills, because I no longer am looking at Chris Evans when he passed the torch to Sam, that was for us to get off our asses, not us as in the collective us, because everybody here loves Captain America, and I do too. Third favorite superhero out of all my fucking superheroes. Own the hot toys, the action figures. My daughter loves Captain America. Folks, I fucking love him. Love him, love him, love him. This movie was shitted on by the critics. 33%. It actually got lower. This is an aggregate score of what I collected over 20 websites that criticize this film. 33%. Do you know how low that is? Just mathematics, folks, to get a 33%. Now, these are paid sites that paid critics and content creators. Funny thing is, those same content creators in their comment sections, when I went through a few of the videos, all had their fans make them make another video, and they saw it for a second time. And suddenly, their opinions changed. And when you go to Rotten Tomatoes, you can see this film got a 79%, but it's an 84%. Here's why. I gave this film, when I saw it, an 8.5 out of 10. It would have gotten a 10 out of 10 if it didn't have such choppy edits. If it didn't lack certain elements that it felt like it needed. And it's not for what you think it is. The fact that when I looked at Sam's office, and this is how I tell you guys, Dave and I see movies very differently. Archer is probably the only person on this panel besides Dave and I that I know I respect a great deal that sees it like Dave and I do. He analyzes aspects of the film that you maybe as a casual fan will not see. But if you don't know Roberto Clemente, I think it was he had different African-American athletes that paved the way for themselves in their respective sports on his walls. His office was a dedication to being a black man in a position that nobody expected him to be. And it's amazing to think that you see these pictures and imagery, and it's, you know, it just blew my mind. That was what sold me on loving this film even more. Yes, I get a Puerto Rican man as a as the new Falcon. Love him. He's great comic relief. I need somebody of my complexion to be in that film because I'm not a dark-skinned Latino. I'm sorry. I'm a light-skinned. But I like that I got him in there. He's great comic relief, great intelligence. Funny, John Leguizamo says it, when you're 68% of your 86% of the population, yet you're only 1% of the people or 3% of the people behind the camera. What are we doing wrong? And that was where I was mad. Did I love Isaiah Bradley? Hell yes, I love his character. Did I love aspects of them kind of showing them break out of their characters of being the heroes and enjoying themselves as regular people? Yes. Where did they go wrong? We pretty much wiped out the concept of the Eternals and just have Tiamat floating in the ocean. So we at least covered that eyesore of a bad movie. We get adamantium. So we get adamantium. Yay. So we now know Wakanda controls vibranium. The world's now going for adamantium, or the whatever they called it, X or something like that. They called it adamantium at one point in the film. So I'm like, yay, Wolverine. Harrison Ford. Weirdly enough, I don't dislike his character, but I don't like his character because there's a lot of weirdness, and it might have been because of the writing, and it was like the editing. I had problems with it. Red Hulk, loved. Wish I had more of him in the film. Did I need to have the leader? Yes and no. But it ties up a loose end. Did I need Betty Ross? Tied up a loose end. It makes the movies canon. And I get that Disney needed to do that because it was the Fox property. They're trying to salvage it. So yay, win. Now, where does it go wrong? I'll wait till Dave goes back to the slide because so people expected, and I'm going to say this very honestly, I think people expected a Chris Evans film. I think you guys expected to see Bucky be more of a lead in this role. No, Bucky's in the fucking Thunderbolts. That's his movie. Leave him over there. He was the sidekick in Endgame. He was a sidekick in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. He is a sidekick in this film. A black man stepping into the role, and then people, I love all the people of color and the people that criticized it. He fought Red Hulk, but he has no powers. Okay, folks, I'm going to educate you on something. If you didn't watch Black Panther, and you're a fucking idiot if you didn't watch this, vibranium absorbs kinetic impact. So when you punch somebody, okay, Black Panther proved it when we had the suit. He showed it in Endgame, and he showed it with Shuri. So for casuals, am I going to say it does in the comic books? We both know it doesn't. But for the fact that the MCU proper made it educated for the casual to kind of correlate that, that's where I left it. That's where I left that. So I understand where you're going. I'm going with what the MCU taught you versus what I know, because I'm a comic book fan. I know Vibranium don't do that shit. Does a way other cooler shit. Doesn't do that. But he absorbs the impact. He gets heightened abilities while in the suit. Suit's made completely of vibranium. Should the Hulk been able to break it in the movie? Nope. Did. Should Thanos have broken a vibranium shield? No, he did. Accept it. They wanted us to see powerful people do some fucked up shit. That's what happens. Giancarlo Esposito. I love him. Love him, love him, love him. Why the fuck was he in this movie? For everything to push a point, shouldn't have been. The leader could have just done what he did, and I was happy with that. A waste of a great actor. Watch Breaking Bad. Watch the Netflix shows. Watch his other shit he's done. Great actor. Just didn't need him in this movie. The parts that we were expecting, I cut this literally from Disney and Wikipedia, looking to make sure I had the right information. This is what you expected to go see in the theaters, folks. What did we get? I die on my hill. You can kiss my ass if you don't like it. You got the best Captain America you're going to get since Winter Soldier. Chris Evans' Winter Soldier, untouchable Captain America film. Oh, wait, and to clarify this, because people are dumbasses, this is your third Captain America movie. Yeah, third. Civil War doesn't count, because it's not titled Captain America Civil War. It's Civil War. So you had Captain America, the first Avenger. You had Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Captain America, Brave New World. 3 films. Not a 4th film. If you don't know, like Archer said, Google it. You'll see this is a 3rd film, not a 4th. This is his first non-super serum soldier film where he's got the powers. And I like that. Did Anthony Mackie get hate for coming out saying, I'm not America. I represent an ideal. Funny. Batman, if we did this to Batman, we put a black man in a Batman suit. But you know what he did? He had to cover his mouth for fear that the cops would shoot him. DC really made me feel like, oh shit. Batman, you're fucking Batman. But you got to cover your face because your cops may kill you. Not the enemies, the cops. Captain America walks out there as a soldier, retired, trained American veteran, and people hated him. Captain America, oh, he was a soldier frozen in ice, and he was white, and that's all fine and dandy. He comes out the ice, and Avengers assemble. Anthony Mackie was the first motherfucker on that mic on your left. Black Panther walks through the portal in Endgame. I didn't see Bucky come through first. I didn't see The fucking Thor, where did Thor swing his hammer? Fat Thor got beat up, stabbed by Thanos. Where was Tony? Slapped up. You guys really want to talk about why there's so many divisive issues and people hating? Captain America's an ideal. Spider-Man's an ideal. Miles Morales wears the suit. It's the what do you bring in the suit to the name to be the hero? Joaquin, I could have put a paraplegic monkey in a Falcon suit. If that guy busted his ass and was the best Falcon I got, a paraplegic monkey it is. But no, you people have said it. You change the race, you change the gender, they go crazy. And that pissed me off. This film is a solid action film. Is there botches in it? Yes. All over the film, there's botches. But do I like the fight scenes? Yes. Did I like the storytelling? Yes. Do I not like how it doesn't really tie me to Avengers Doomsday or Thunderbolts? Loosely ties me to Thunderbolts through Bucky. Would I have liked it to kind of dip into Armor Wars? Would I have liked it to talk about Fantastic Four? Would I have loved it to mention any of the other Marvel films? Yes, but I think that for an isolated film to give me an idea for an Illuminati, I'm with. And I think that that's where I have to leave it at that. If you didn't like this film, hey, you didn't pay your money. I did. Hell, my best friend and my brother bought my daughter, his niece, both the characters because she doesn't look at the color of his skin. She knows Captain America is either the dude with the wings or the dude with the shield. Either which way, she still loves the character. She's 4 years old, about to be 5. And she doesn't see the color. Maybe y'all should get off your asses and realize that ideals make the man or the woman that wears the suit. Because we didn't have a problem with Captain Carter. Oh, man, she's hot. Captain Carter, she's got big titties and a shield, and she can fight. No problem with that. But then again, you get a black man in a suit. No powers. I'm going to leave it at that. Archer.
Well, Dave, do you have anything?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. Again, similar to Acolyte, the things you're saying on paper sound great. They all sound great. I don't think it's reality. But here's why, and I don't mean that in an offensive way. I've mentioned it on stream a number of times that, and I kind of alluded to it with the Star Wars thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of us that care enough to do the research, to read the books, to do all that stuff, small piece of the pie, unless you're in certain fandoms. For example, the hardcore fan base of the MCU, I'm going to say MCU, not Marvel as a whole, just MCU. The hardcore fan base of the MCU, very small. And to classify as hardcore, I mean you watch all the TV shows, you watch all the movies, and you have read or watched source material that you identify the movies or TV shows pulling from. To me, that's hardcore. Yes. Now, again, that's a small piece of the pie because you don't have $1 billion movie off of hardcore fans. It is fiscally impossible to do so. I'll give you the other example. The Ghostbuster community. The Ghostbuster community.
I'm going to mute myself.
The Ghostbuster community, the hardcores, they consume the majority of the total addressable audience. Like, casual people do not consume Ghostbusters anywhere near as much as the hardcore does. On the Marvel side, casuals consume way more content. If I should probably rephrase this into like a pie chart. Like there's a pie chart, and it's like, 25% of that's hardcore, and then the other 75% is casual. gives us 100% of the Marvel pie. But on the Ghostbuster side, it's like almost inverted. It's like 75% hardcore, 25% casual. So that's all in the numbers. Like when you look at the Ghostbuster numbers of in the box office, the fact that they barely hit profitability at any point, it's hardcore is going to see it 3, 4, 5 times. On the Marvel side, it needs to be the only way they hit those numbers is casual people going to see the movie, casual people talking about it, trending on TikTok, the influencers are going X, Y, and Z. Considering that the casual consists of the largest portion of this pie chart, considering that the casual fan is that big in this pie chart, the casual fan only knows Captain America is Chris Evans. That's all they know. And it's not for a lot of them, it is not ignorance. It's not an ignorance thing. They don't go home after watching a societal event like Endgame and say, I'm going to pick up a comic book now. They go home and they go on TikTok and they look at a random influencer talking about some random shit. That's what most people do. Most people do not go home and say, I'm going to go home and I'm going to rewatch Captain America 1. I'm going to rewatch Winter Soldier. That's not what casuals do. Not at all. Hardcores do that. Hardcores buy Hot Toys. But again, when it comes to something as large as the MCU, just like the Star Wars conversation, as a hardcore fan, you do not matter as much as a casual. So all the points you made, they're all valid. I'm not saying that what you said doesn't make sense or anything. It just doesn't matter in the grand scheme.
I agree with you 100%.
And it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of dollars and cents. So Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I said this when we started this episode, if I'm Kevin Feige right now, it's a lose-lose. If I am green lighting this movie to go into production, I either can acknowledge the fact that the TV show exists or I cannot acknowledge the TV show exists. If I acknowledge the TV show exists, I literally segment out the casual person because the casual person did not watch my TV show. If I do not acknowledge the TV show exists, then I literally wasted the time of the hardcore person. Those are your only two options. As a hardcore, seeing this movie in the trailers and seeing the theme of the movie, as a hardcore fan, I don't have to see this movie because I know you're going to retread shit that I saw on the TV show. There's no point. So visually looking at that poster on the screen right now, as a hardcore fan, knowing that as a hardcore fan, things come out on Instagram, they come out on Facebook. I learned that Red Hulk's at the end of the movie. He's not even the main villain of the movie. Knowing all of that, I have zero need to go watch this movie in theaters using my time and my money. And that's where most people fell. Most people saw this and said, Captain America's Chris Evans, where's Tom Holland, and what the fuck is a Red Hulk? I'll wait till it's on Disney Plus. That's the problem with this movie. That's the problem with them deciding to do this movie. At this point, Thunderbolts is going to ride or die on, is David Harbour and Florence Pugh still pulling enough casual appeal to get somebody to say, I'm going to watch this movie? If they are not at the point of Thunderbolts coming out, the Thunderbolts literally just, it does okay. It'll make its money back. I think Thunderbolts, unlike Captain America, will make its money back pretty fast, but it's not going to. Disney wants these to be hits. Disney's trying to replicate Endgame, and that's why the Russo brothers are doing Doomsday.
And Secret Wars.
Yeah, that's why they're doing that, because they're like, oh, Endgame was a hit. Again, corporate America, we made a hit, do it again. We need 10 years to build up to that. Nope, do it again.
Can I just interrupt you with this idea, because I feel like it's something that my brother and I talked about this the other day. Sammy, shout out to you, because I know you do watch this on the replay. The Russos, I feel they did such a fantastic job with the films that they were able to do in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that and I think my brother, and I know other people have said it too, I think they get handcuffed because when the MCU first started, everything was based on the idea of taking the fan and the director into one person. Ed Norton, Kenneth Branagh, what was it? John Favreau. Yeah, you have all these guys that are like diehard fans of the characters, and then they're giving us their interpretation using source material and giving us the lore. Now, did they hit in every one of those movies? Probably not. But then the Russos come along, and we get solid films. Can you at least agree with that the Russos are good at what they do?
Dave, if you don't mind, can you pull up the IMDb of the Russo brothers so we can see what they were involved in outside of Endgame? I don't know the answer. I have a theory. I just wanted to see if it's true.
I think they did Civil War. If I'm not mistaken. I think they did Civil War.
You might be right.
Okay, here we go.
So when Iron Man came out, right? Everything is dollars and cents. Iron Man came out via Jon Favreau going to Marvel that was damn near bankrupt and being like, I really want to make this movie. And they were just like, at a certain point, they were like, F it. You can make your movie. He goes, great. I'm basing this on a story called Man in the Bottle or Bottom of the Bottle, something like that. And this is all going to be written with the intention of Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, playing Tony Stark. And they said, no. Because my man literally got arrested like last year. And he's like, no. Like, trust me. If you're going to give me permission to make this movie, it needs to be him. He is Tony Stark. He's the person.
Russo, here we go.
So they make the movie. They assumed it was going to fail. Massive.
Scroll up, Dave. Scroll up. It's right there. Scroll up. You can see it. They had the 4 films he did. Keep going. Pass you like no up. There we go.
Well, that's just what he's known for.
But but they're hits though. I know. I was just saying. Look at the 3 big hits he had. All movies that everybody agrees are probably some of the best in the MCU.
Yeah, but pull up the full list, please. So the movie's a hit, and then Disney's like, "Oh, that was awesome. Do it again." And he's like, "Okay, this is what I need to do it again." And they said, "No, do it again. Do it faster. We need another one." He was like, I'm going to do it. And that's it. I'm done. I'm literally Iron Man 2's it. We saw what happened after Iron Man 2. And we saw the product that we got in Iron Man 2. It wasn't a great movie by any stretch. Iron Man 3, even worse. So at a certain point, what happens is corporate America says, this thing made money. We need to do more of this thing. I don't care about your creative view. I don't care about what source material you have. I'm going to look at what worked. And because I'm the one with a checkbook, I'm going to tell you what I think you should do. And they usually fuck up. That's usually what happens. They fuck up. I think you guys talked about it last week. Halloween, Rob Zombie.
Yes.
Good movie. Second one, not as much. Do you know why? Studio said, you fucked up the first movie. And then all of a sudden, when the numbers were coming back on opening weekend, they were like, oh, people like this movie. Hey, Rob, can you do another one? But here's the list of things you need to do in this movie. And he was like, he's like, I'm done. And they're like, no, do another one. And he said, I'm going to do one more. if I'm out of my contract to do a third movie. He bombed the second one on purpose. So I say all that because, and I apologize for the TED Talk. I say all that
I love
because
it. I need this. I need
at a
this.
certain point, the
It's the Steven talk.
Yeah. At a certain point, the studio's like, this is what I think is going to work, whether it makes sense or not, because this is what I think in my hubris is going to work. Doing a Captain America movie where Chris Evans is not there is immediately you're taking a loss. It's pointless, in my opinion. You got a TV show that actually was good. It was actually a really good show. Nobody watched it. And upon looking at that, you still said, I'm going to make a movie, though, because I had that much faith in the fact that the mantle can be passed. Even though in the comic books, the mantle pass didn't work. It didn't work. It was cool. It was cool for a minute. And then what did they do? They brought back old man Steve Rogers. And then eventually we end up having incursions and all that kind of shit. And then we go back to
Captain Hydra, then we the incursions, and then now we're back to him though. Now we're back to Sam Wilson.
Well, I think we can all agree that readership of comic books is not great right now.
For Marvel, yes, I 100% agree.
Yeah. So as somebody who in a way I wanted this to fail, I didn't want it to fail because I don't believe in Captain America being somebody else. I didn't want it to fail because I didn't believe you can have Red Hulk be a villain. I wanted the movie to fail because it's literally a corporation saying, I bet I know the formula more than fanboys who wrote previous successes. I know the formula more than literal logic of the fan base. I'm going to do something because I think this is what needs to happen, and they fucked up. That's why I wanted it to fail. It shouldn't have been Anthony Mackie as Captain America. It shouldn't have been a movie anyway. If anything, you do a season 2, and for F's sake, I don't know why Sebastian Stan was not involved in this, because you literally had him in the TV show, and it was a great dynamic. Keep it going, if anything, to get people to say, hey, let me watch season 1, because season 2 is doing really good.
Can I say 2 reasons why? What's our topic of the show? Woke. You needed to bring Joaquin in because they practically killed him in the freaking TV show, and he had.
But did you need to bring him in?
Did you need to? You want my honest opinion? No.
How did they kill him? How did they almost kill him in the TV show?
Yeah,
you mean they nerfed him?
They nerfed him. They nerfed him in the TV show.
Yeah.
They put him in.
He didn't do shit.
Yeah, because he was just the guy in the suit. He was the guy in the chair. That's all he was.
Yeah.
And
because now everybody's CSI. Everybody needs to have a person in the chair to tell you what to do.
Exactly. And then you get in the movie and it's like he's a soldier, he's a tech guy, but he's still
literally
in the military.
Falcon again.
Exactly. So let's give him.
Wait, I'm the guy in the chair.
Well, but and here's where like the reason I say we didn't need Sebastian Stan was he. Outside, for the people that don't know, he was in that Trump film that supposedly did really, really well, and he was doing Thunderbolts, and then they have him working on some other projects that he was working on. So he had to go from losing all that weight to then go into doing Winter Soldier again, and then going into now what we know as Doomsday. And I think that knowing that you need him to be the MC in Thunderbolts, which again, Thunderbolts is named after Thunderbolt Harris, which is asinine that he's not even in. Harrison Ford's not even in the movie.
You mean Ross? Thunderbolt Ross?
Ross. Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
They didn't put him in the film, and he's not even in any there's no secret stuff. I mean, Harrison Ford's old. I love him to death. Do I want to see him in Thunderbolts? It would have made sense because he in the comic books, again, like you said, I'm a hardcore. I will admit that. I'm a hardcore fan. I know my comic book lore. I know my comics. He should be in this film by all rights and privileges. And I think that's why we have the asterisks. There's also talks that Fisk is going to be involved in some way, shape, or form. I don't want Fisk. That's Daredevil, street level crime. I need Ross, and I need to know why and Sentry because that's Superman.
But it's literally Q rating shit. They're just like, okay, like we have Anthony Mackie and this random kid who nobody knows versus Seth Rollins. That's what's on paper.
And we cut that.
Seth freaking Rollins.
And then they're like, hey, you know what? Freaking I'm forgetting his name now. Spanish and Italian actor there. Juan Carlo
Esposito.
His Q rating higher than Seth Rollins. All right, Seth, all that stuff you shot out. We're torching it. And then they go, oh, wait, but he may not be big enough script wise to make sense. Harrison Ford. Like,
but we got to tie up loose ends.
You literally had an old actor die. I think he may have had cancer, but you literally had an old actor die, and you opted to recast him with another old actor.
I mean,
older actor.
Older.
Yeah, because Hurt was already like in his 60s, and Harrison Ford's is 80.
Yeah.
Can I just throw this out there? They could have thrown Sam Elliott in there. He's still kicking and acting.
Oh, he would have been great.
They could have done so many things. But you know, I guess that's my time. Sorry, but
no. You're
it's
good,
a Q
man.
rating.
Your time.
It's literally a bunch of people around a table. They were looking at information and said, we're going to do this, even though it doesn't make logical sense. And that's why I wanted this movie to fail. And that's why I did.
So let me ask you this. I want to ask you this because and people always, I know it was a joke, but as the black man to the Hispanic, black, and Middle Eastern man that loves the fact that we have a person of color that is representing America, the melting pot that it is. Because if you actually look past and this is the historian in me talking, the melting pot represented in Mackie, who I think is doing a very good job as a person that didn't expect to be given the role and is now thrust with the responsibility of now being a leader and a figurehead. I think that's a very heavy is he who wears the crown. How do you feel like, at least from that perspective, that we're getting to see somebody that, I mean, Evans is good, but I think we don't need him anymore.
No, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Like if we're going to do a heavy as a crown, let's have some balls and do an Isaiah Bradley TV show or movie.
I want that.
You literally built that. Give me that show. Something along those lines. This is not that. Falcon converting into Captain America. Cool story, bro. It doesn't work. Miles Morales was a freaking once in a lifetime hit. And Marvel, talking to the safe space conversation before, Marvel saw how much of a hit Miles Morales was and said, we're going to do that to everybody. Enter Riri Williams, enter Kamala Khan, enter Sam Wilson, Captain America. They did all that stuff. We got the hip hop covers, we got the whole thing. And it turns out people were just like, I don't care about all this stuff. I like Miles Morales, though. That's cool. You know.
What about Gwen Stacy?
Spider-Gwen.
And Robert,
the cosplay community likes Gwen Stacy, but that's about it.
You don't think that we at least
casual appeal, always casual appeal. You can be as creative as you want in the TV shows and the cartoons, but if you're trying to make a movie theater hit, you got to hit the casuals and you got to give them what they want. And nobody wants Anthony Mackie's Captain America. They want Chris Evans because they like that. Unless, here's the thing. If there was a Captain America movie with Chris Evans, and it turns out that as far as trending on social media, merchandise purchasing, if Anthony Mackie was passing him in those movies, do a mantle pass as far as the MCU goes. But if that's not the case, you don't have, to me, if I'm CEO, I don't have a case to make another movie. Ironheart, here's the thing. Ironheart will fail unless it's that good. It needs to be like 10 times better than Iron Man 1. If it's 10 times better than Iron Man 1, it'll do okay. But it when people see Iron Man or Iron Blank, Robert Downey Jr., that's all they want to see. That's all they care about. Unless it was an actor or actress that their Q rating in social media is that high, they can overcome that. If for some odd reason Zendaya ended up being Riri Williams, if she wasn't Mary Jane Watson, people would pay attention because Zendaya is pretty damn hot on the Q ratings of social media. There are hardcore stands for Zendaya that watch anything she's in, and they will watch Ironheart if she's in that. They attempted that with Harrison Ford being in this movie. They assume Harrison Ford Q rating is so high, and all the demographics going to go watch this movie because Harrison Ford is in it. No, not the same thing. I can see my time.
Oh, I love what he said though about the Isaiah Bradley show.
Now, well, I completely agree with Archer, but I just gotta say this: they better not try and bring back Steve Rogers and cast Logan Paul in there. I will fucking riot. That's all I'm gonna say. But first off, Dre, I love you, but you know I have to correct you.
Correct me.
You know I have to correct you. What did you say about Civil War earlier?
I said I thought Civil War. You go if you watch the replay, you got to rewind.
You said it's not a Captain America movie. IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes both show it as Captain America: Civil War.
No. He said, even though it says that, he says it's not.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. It's not. It's not.
I disagree, but he says it's not.
It's not because and here's why I say it's not because Civil War
not a solo Captain America.
It's very much an Avengers movie. It's a cheat. That movie's cheating. I don't count that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because if you read the comic books, right? Again, the source material. Civil War is they had the right idea. It is Captain America versus Iron Man. That is the pretense that we needed. What the Sokovia Accords from Age of Ultron, that we needed. We needed all that background to set up getting Spider-Man involved because Spider-Man's in MC. We needed Thor, which we didn't really get Thor at all, which I wanted him. That would be great to have Ragnarok.
Or Hulk.
Well, Hulk wasn't involved in Civil War. Hulk was off.
You needed Thor to kill Goliath.
And that's the whole thing. There was a lot of missed moments, but then I liked how they shot. They made other characters shine. At the end of the day, I think it was good, like Black Panther and everything else.
Okay,
but I personally feel like that film is really a Avengers film. This is the separation of the team.
This is the breaking of the band. Mm-hmm. However, okay,
like the Beatles.
No, the Monkees. What? Here's my thing. I enjoyed this movie, but again, even Mrs. Dimension pointed out editing issues. She's like, wait a minute, it's jumping from this to this. She was even pointing out editing.
Yeah, they rushed the movie.
And she's not usually someone that kind of points that stuff out. So she's, let's be honest, she's the uttermost casual fan. Like Archer, you know how you talk about how you kind of recently, over the past few years, got more and more into Ghostbusters, right? Okay. Her first Marvel movie was because of me when we were dating. In fact, when we got engaged, we went to go see Doctor Strange. She said, "What's this movie?" I said, "I think you'll enjoy it." She was like, "Okay, whatever." You know, she goes. She loves Benedict Cumberbatch. She loves, she loves her Deadpool. She is totally converted. She even has a hot toy now. So she's fully converted into the Marvel spheres. Every time a Marvel movie comes out, we have to go see it together. Although she broke that rule when it came to Deadpool and Wolverine, but that's a whole other story. But like, even with her, she was noticing things that were just not in the right place. And part of that, I mean, that says a lot when an totally, utterly casual fan is not sitting well with it, some things I liked were like, okay, I like the sidekick type banter between oh god, I'm blanking on his name. Or was it Joaquin Joaquin and
Yeah,
Sam.
Joaquin. It was
Um,
Joaquin.
I mean, I like the inclusion of Isaiah. Keeping Isaiah around as a training partner. I mean, those that don't know, let me pull this back up. Let me see if it'll let me pull it back up. Let's see here. Stop sharing. Hold on. I got to do another share. Sorry. Here we go. For those that don't know, I mean, Isaiah was a badass in the comics. And what I really would have friggin' loved is obviously Sam doesn't have the serum. Isaiah still does. I would have loved to have seen the two of them taking on Red Hulk. And I think that would have been an interesting battle where Sam is
Second, there was
fighting.
a daddy duty.
Go, you go do your duty. Yeah, I said it. I'll say it again. I would have loved to have seen Isaiah, fighting side by side with Sam. Shield gets deflected. Isaiah catches it. I would have loved to have seen, old man Isaiah, old man Cap. I would have loved to have seen something like that in there. I think that would have been great. But yes, again, like you said, the Q ratings, it's popularity. The thing is, Sam is a very likable character, and there is substance behind him, but they're not bringing it out into the forefront. They did, I mean, capping off, no pun intended, Falcon and Winter Soldier with that speech at the end. That was great.
Yeah.
That was a great speech. I like Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
I like Anthony Mackie in this role ever since he was introduced in Civil War. I've liked him, but again, most people don't realize that there's been plenty of people who've carried the shield over the damn years because they don't know the material. They're not ignorant. They're not exposed to it. They only know what they see on TV or what's in the movies. That's all they know. And in every iteration of the cartoon of Captain America and in the movies, we've only ever had Steve Rogers. Falcon and Winter Soldier was the first time we saw John Walker. That's the first time we had a reference to U.S. agents, and people were freaking out like, oh, who's this? It's like, no, I did not want you to zoom in. I mean, that's the thing. They don't realize Bucky was Cap at one point in time. We have dozens of Caps. Hell, you can find images with the big Marvel DC crossover where Superman actually held Thor's hammer and Cap's shield at the same time. It's a whole thing, guys. You can look it up. It could have been written well better, but I think also because correct me if I'm wrong, they went back and reshot a lot of stuff, so a lot of things were changed. I would have loved, seriously, I'm hoping on the DVD or should I say the Blu-ray that they include Seth Rollins deleted scenes. It would be great. I know it's not going to happen, but it would be great. I really would have loved to have seen what he could have potentially have done. Who knows? If I ever see him at a con, I'll ask him about it, but I mean, this movie had a lot of potential. The leader, I would have loved him as just a straight big bad and not some big bad that was under the government's thumb for so many years.
Why is he even in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, they made him look like he had like coral or something growing on the side of his head. I mean, it didn't look like the leader. I get that they have to make changes. This is the MCU. We have a vision we need to do. This is not the leader. I mean, he's a good actor. He was wasted. He could have been more diabolical, more evil. We know that he can act that. I mean, this guy has been in so many. Hell, he was in Holes. He was in Brother Where Art Thou. I mean, he's been in so many fantastic movies. He is an amazing actor, but they kind of wasted him, I think. And I'm pretty sure he thought it was a waste. Liv Tyler, making her, her cameo as a voice and then actually seeing her very briefly. That was cool. My wife loved the hell out of it, but that's fan service.
Yeah.
It was fan service.
For fans who for again, the hardcores, not the casual.
Yeah. It's the thing is there's so much potential. Again, like with Acolyte, there was so much potential in this. They fell flat. I did enjoy it. I love that Cap has a different suit, but also I beg the question, okay, well, obviously his top, unless he hit up Wakanda and say, hey, could you make this number in blue? Unless they did that, then that's not armored or insulated with vibranium, and only the wings are. But again, the wings being ripped apart as easily as they were, um, some of it was like stretch of imagination this time.
Mhm.
One thing I didn't like was, okay, not that Sam was questioning himself, because any person in his position should be questioning himself. I think if you're in a situation and you don't have any fear or any hesitation, there's something wrong with you there. I mean, hell, even when you had Steve Rogers, he was given orders, but also he was from a different era. But still, he, instead of risking other people, like as soon as he lost Bucky in the first film, he knew that if anyone needs to make a sacrifice, it should be him and can be only him. But also, he had the super soldier formula to give him the backup. We had that scene in the hospital where, you know, uh, Sam says that he's questioning. He's like, hey, wish he would have took the serum.
Serum. Yeah.
And of course, Bucky was there again. We have there's no MCU, no Disney Plus show that told us that, oh, he's going to run for office. So I mean, maybe that was lost in the editing room floor. What's his motivation for being in office? Does he want more of a steady job? And what state is he going to be a congressman for? Does it happen to be a state where Sam's from, so he can be closer to Sam's sister? I mean, there's 1,000 different questions right there. They could have done way better. I felt like whoever was writing this, like, I don't know, if it felt like they were told real like halfway through, hey, this is we want you, the studio stepping in saying, hey, we want you to do this, do that. And I think that's where a lot of it was. I did like that Ross was trying to hold back when his anger. He knew he felt something going on, and he was trying to fight back the anger. I like that they wrote that in there. I did like that those little bits. But again, it had so much potential. I know a lot of people were mad that we didn't get more of the Red Hulk. A lot of people wanted more of the Red Hulk. But obviously, if you get the Red Hulk, you're going to be tracing it back to Ross, and you're going to out him up front.
It's on the poster.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's on the poster. I mean, you're expecting to see it. You don't get it till the absolute almost to the end. And then, of course, he goes to the raft. I like that Sam went there to check on him, so to speak. Did he go there to check on him, or did he go there to make sure that he was being contained? Because we all know a Hulk's powers can be pretty unlimited at times.
Mm-hmm.
So it begs the question, what kind of a Hulk is he? Obviously, he's a red Hulk. His rage energy exudes tons of heat energy. So I mean, was Sam maybe worried that he was going to Hulk out, even if he is, locked down with some kind of, suppressor serum or some kind of device that injects him with sedative to calm him down or whatever the hell. But if it was a good movie, I wish we would have had more of Isaiah. And the fact that you're going to traumatize Isaiah, because he was already in prison long enough, you would think that this character was tortured enough. And from that disgruntled, angry man that he was in the series, and once Sam puts on the suit and does it in public and dons it, it was giving him a little bit of pride. And then when Sam takes him to the museum at the end of the series to show that he was honoring him in his part, I mean, it was opening Isaiah up, and you see Isaiah, in this fantastic kind of state of the art training center or training facility for Sam to help him with Joaquin. Like that, they could, like, I seriously would have loved it that if Sam said, listen, I really need help, and Isaiah, throws on a suit of his own, and I would have loved to see the two fighting side by side, because the actor who plays Isaiah, I'm blanking on his name, but this is a guy who
Carl Lugby or
yeah,
Lugby?
yeah. People who don't know, yeah, I'm sure back in the 80s, he had a short-lived superhero series called Mantis,
Yep.
where he built an exoskeletal suit. Not very, it could be almost like a stripped down version of
Iron Man suit.
of Iron Man suit, where he had a sleek car. He was basically kind of a black Iron Man, if you will, and he was great in that. And of course, then later on, we get him as the voice of Martian Manhunter in Justice League Unlimited, and the corresponding movies that, of course, they did with that. He played, John Jones's father in the Supergirl series on CW. I mean, he is superhero royalty, and I would have really, I think it would have been, yes, he can't physically do all the stunts, but you can CGI the hell out of his body. I mean, look at what Disney does with the Star Wars shows. You could have easily done it. It would have been fantastic, and people would have loved the hell out of it. They would have ate it up and loved it. Personally, me, that was one thing I wanted to see in this movie, was see the two of them fighting side by side. But obviously, it didn't happen. Like you said, popularity. They went for fan service. Fan service doesn't always win, and it
The
was
wrong
just,
kind of fan service. They went for the casual fan service.
yeah. I mean, Liv Tyler, she probably was like, "Wait a minute, you want me to record a little voice conversation? It's like not even a couple minutes, and then you want me to just show up and just kind of hug my father,
Right.
Oh, you want me to hug Harrison Ford? Yeah, sure, I'll do it. I mean, that's all it was. I mean, it was a couple minutes. I mean, the leader is such a bigger character and the fact that he's kind of a I don't want to say an oracle, but he's kind of like that warning, oh, there's I've predicted much more coming. I mean, are they going to reuse him, or are they just going to let him rot away in the raft?
And there's a lot of talk, and I'm sorry,
because I'm sorry, there's a lot of talk. My fear is that they're going to try and do what they did with Zemo. They're going to release him, say, "Oh, we need your insight. Obviously, you predicted a lot of things. We need your predicting," and it's just going to open up a can of worms. But I think they're going to waste him again. They're going to waste the potential of the character, because we know he is a big factor in the comics. Anyone that knows anything about the comics knows that the leader is a big to do when it comes to Hulk. But it's just, again, if things fell flat, again, my big thing was I would have loved to have seen Isaiah and Sam fighting side by side. I think it would have been cool, and plus Sam would have had
grandson. We get the grandson that's going to be coming.
Okay, well, I was saying that I would have loved to have seen the two of them fighting side by side, kind of him finally getting his recognition out in public, because then people are like, wait a minute, who is this person fighting with him? And plus it gives Sam Wilson the superpowered backup that he could have used, instead of him kind of being a little mopey, like, yeah, I should have taken that serum, so there was that. And yeah, we have.
Can we agree though that did we not see that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I keep saying Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I mean Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show, folks. Can we agree that we saw the benefits and the actual bad things that come with taking the serum, like U.S. Agent? You took it, but he took it for greedy reasons, and it kind of showed that maybe the reason why Cap wouldn't have wanted that we would have got him was because the fact that.
Well, you and I have had this conversation off camera, and I've brought it up before. Okay, I brought this up before. The thing is with Sam is Steve knew that Sam didn't need the serum, that he saw the potential of Sam, because when Steve saw half the world, half the universe snap away into dust and lost Sam, what did Steve do? Steve did the same job that Sam was doing. He was being a counselor to people during a very dark time. So he saw and he recognized that potential that Sam has. Sam has the same heart, and he felt that he didn't need to have the strength. But also, Sam saw what the super soldier could do. Super soldier serum can do. What Bucky was before he was cleared, before he was healed of his brainwashing. We saw what John Walker was capable of. It's like someone who let's say hypothetically someone's biological father was a drunk. And then that person was afraid of if they ever had a drink, could they become what that person was? Okay? That same fear can mess with a person's mind. And yes, Sam feels at first that he doesn't need to have it. You know, he did all that training during Falcon and Winter Soldier, where he practiced and practiced with the shield, so he was strong enough, and he can do. Yes, he has to work hard to do backflips and cartwheels and all the, parkour maneuvers to be Captain America. But he did question himself and say, well, he really wished he had that, because yeah, he could heal quicker. It makes him a little bit faster, and it keeps him kind of at his prime physique for probably for years to come. Let's just say. That's what I'm getting at, was that he had the regret when you walked away. I explained how, there was that scene, that the scene I didn't care for was him second guessing himself about the serum. Okay. I'm not saying that he should have the serum, but kept saying that I wanted to see him and Isaiah fighting side by side. I think that would have been amazing. People would have loved it. I think fans would have loved it. And it probably would have added another factor to it. But again, they wasted the leader, they wasted Isaiah, and they put Isaiah's character through the hell of being put back into a friggin' prison. The one last place he wanted to be after how he was treated. It's like they basically ripped away all the good that Sam did at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier series. So that's what I was getting to when you were away. I was mentioning that because he's an amazing actor, but the story of the character, because we see the character much happier in the beginning of this movie. He's happier. He's even a +1 to go to the White House. Come on. Like, he's living his best life all of a sudden, instead of being bitter and, kind of just like settled into his life. He's actually starting to enjoy his life again. And that was awesome. But then you just kind of like shove him into a dark place. You're using him as a scapegoat. You're blaming him. I mean, that didn't sit well. The former Black Widow agent, the former Red Room agent, who was like the special agents for the president.
The attaché,
she was a bit of comic relief. I mean, she didn't have to be that character. It almost makes me think, are they grooming her to kind of bring her in at some point down the line? It just felt like, okay, what is this? Is this Black Widow from Temu? So, I mean, that's how I felt about it. As far as the wokeness, I mean, I didn't see wokeness in here. I just felt shortcomings. And again, it's an age-old story of studios getting involved and bringing the movie down, bringing its quality down, bringing its potential down. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So, in final thoughts on this, I think Archer has kind of made a very, very interesting point. That I am slowly growing on this point of that we blame the actors, we blame a lot of other people, that we don't blame the studio, and we don't blame the writers, which are the first line. I mean, actors can be bad, but like in Madam Web, you get the people that they admitted they didn't read the source material, they just dialed it in. And then you have other movies where it was just dialed in. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with anybody's points. I love this film. I'm a huge Captain America stan. I scrolled up here. Y'all see, I spent $1,000 in Hot Toys because I love Captain America. My wife heard that when she fucking almost flipped her wig when I said that, but I was able to suave bola my way out of it. But that's how much I love Captain America, how much I love Spider-Man. It's that, like Archer said, it's the hardcore fan. And what you can take away from each of these things that we've talked about today is that the hardcore fan is the silent minority in what Hollywood looks at. Do we sometimes get our wins? We do. Mandalorian, Andor, Sonic.
we get them. We get our wins, but they are few and far between. Yes, are we happy we got Wesley Snipes? Hell yes, we are. We are happy that we got an actual Sonic the Hedgehog. That my daughter absolutely loves Sonic now. You get a lot of good things, and she's my barometer. As much as I know I am, she is, because she's the next generation that they're going to be grooming for toys beyond me. They're the next generation of people that they groom to get to become those fans. I get where Archer's coming from. They're not marketing to me, to us. They're marketing to her. They're marketing to my teen daughter. They're marketing to my wife. That'll go because of me, not because they don't look to me and say, hey man, give me Fing Fang Foom. Give me a classic good film. But at the end of the day, we're at least seeing these films hopefully get better. Archer said it best. Thunderbolts really is. My daughter is real hyped to go see it. I'm real hyped to go see it. But at the same time, I'm nervous because it can flop. And if it flops, Fantastic Four has so much it needs to live up to, because that is the true setup for Doomsday. We all know that. Like Thunderbolt, let's put it this way. We only get 3 films a year now, folks. We get 3 films a year. If 2 films flop, Daredevil's hitting. If Ironheart doesn't hit and Fantastic Four does not hit, Marvel takes a big loss, and Disney's not going to tolerate that. The mouse don't like that. So, again, let's hope. I want to say I really loved doing this because I love Archer to death. Y'all don't know. I could say that and y'all think, oh, he's just paying him lip service. No. He is a fucking great brother of mine. I love him. He thinks the way we do. And you guys heard, receipts mean everything. He backed up everything he said. And I want to do this again. So Archer, we're going to get you back here. I want you to come back so we can do this again. Because this, I think, needs to be more. We need to talk about this more. I feel like we don't get 3 people on a show or 4 people on a show really talking.
Are you counting me twice? I know I'm a big dude, but come on now.
Listen. I still love you, bro. I'm not counting you twice. Your personality is bigger than you.
Which personalities?
Exactly. Which of the 7? But I want to thank you, Archer. And usually how we end the show, we always ask what you got coming up. Do you have anything planned coming up in the content that we need to be actively looking for? I'm going to borrow your line as I said it in the group chat earlier. Yeah, this is like sell your shit.
Plug your shit.
Plug your shit.
Again, thanks for having me on. There's the new Facebook page, so that's going. The old one will be deactivated. And then I'm going to be recording Ghostbuster unboxing, hopefully tomorrow.
What are we unboxing?
So I'm
Upgrades?
now an official ambassador for Tools and Talent Props, so I have an upgrade from them.
Nice.
I'll be showing that off hopefully this week.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to buy that little pack stand thing that they got going on. I think they're the ones who did that.
Yeah,
where it clips onto the Alice frame, and then it's. Yeah, I want to order that very quickly because my guitar stand's just falling apart.
My code is in my description somewhere.
We'll have it down in our
Might even be Hey Archer. Yeah.
So we'll put it in our video description. I think we missed, like Dave said, we missed minus 1 or 2 of your links. We will definitely have that updated again and edit this before when this video comes out. So you guys will, when we actually have it go up probably tomorrow or Sunday, be expecting it. Anything else?
No, like I said, thank you for having me on. Good conversation.
Cool. I know
Is this
for
the
me,
new page right here?
Yep.
Ooh, I like it. I have to definitely
Damn.
damn. So, I know for me, folks, I'm sorry I did not get my video out this week. It has been, for those of you that didn't know, I've been in and out. I've had 4 doctor's appointments this week. It's been hella crazy with my leg. It's finally got the right mix to get me going, and I was able to actually now walk like a normal human being, unassisted by my robot suit, as Peanut calls it. Peanut calls it my Iron Man suit, which is my walker, and my cane. I've been able to walk without them for the last day since yesterday and earlier today. So knock on wood. But that's why I haven't had the chance to get the content out. I will be editing some more videos and putting some other stuff up and editing some other unboxings. I have several stuff that hasn't been unboxed yet that will be. I have a couple of toy reviews for SH Figure Arts for the Monster Arts. That'll be the Godzilla from Godzilla X Kong and the Kong that I'll be editing and doing as well. That should be hopefully up next week. And that's all I got for me. I do know that we are off next Friday. So Dave and I are taking a much needed break because we love all the guests and we love doing this stuff. But Dave and I factored in that to keep us with that vivaciousness and the energy you guys love us to have, we fucking need a day off. So we're taking next Friday. The week after that, though, is going to be awesome because we do have Oz coming on from the clubhouse. And we're going to be actually, I think tomorrow night, if you guys are going to tune into the clubhouse at 9:45-ish. Oz has invited us
early.
on. Yeah, I spoke to Oz today. He wants to have Dave and I come on. We do have a spot on the clubhouse that we will be coming on and talking about the ride for Roswell. And
thanks for letting me know.
Hey, why not?
What if I had something going on tomorrow? Huh?
Well, if you did, then today. Well, both of us. I figured one of us would go on there. So Oz said he'll invite us both.
Okay.
Dave, before we close out, did you have anything coming up that we?
No, I'm good. Obviously, I got to stream Tuesday Night Talks. I'm doing again this week. We'll see what we have going on. Tuesdays are kind of a hella busy night. So we will see what happens. Who knows? I may go against some of our brethren and stream against their time slots. Maybe Friday, maybe Monday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I am in the process of doing some playthroughs. I haven't recorded anything yet though for RoboCop, but I will be taking every opportunity I can to stream and try and push the advertisements for Stream for the Cure. Again, it's going to be a 24-hour stream, guys. Every dollar of your nickel, every dime goes to Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Institute. You can follow me on my Instagram, Dave's_Dimension. Obviously, Dave's Dimension on YouTube. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter, even though I really don't post anything except for the streams and videos on Twitter. But you guys can find me there. If you have questions, comments, concerns, you can always email me at davesdimension78@gmail.com. But if you have ideas or promotions that you want to do with the Outer Dimensions podcast, there is the Outer Dimensions podcast at gmail.com, guys. So don't forget about that. But other than that, you just stay tuned and you'll see when we're going live. Archer's Nerdy Coffee back full time or
not yet? Work in progress.
I missed that. I used to love it, man. Especially now that I'm switching to morning shift. I would love to be zipping coffee, having you in the background instead of listening to calls. So please bring it back because I would.
I can't imagine Dre with coffee.
I drink coffee.
That's just dangerous. I mean, you were having like mouth sex with the microphone. You're so close doing the ASMR, talking really loud.
Oh, did you guys want me to bring that back when I did the comic book reading? I loved doing that. My wife laughed. She said, "You doing the comic book ASMR?" I was like, "Yes, in Venom."
What was that?
I just loved it because I was like,
so easy.
Oh, that's
what
fun.
She said.
But yeah, thank you guys again. I love all of you. Allison, you definitely did get comment of the night again. You have something going on that's not on the internet. Sus. I think that's the best comment for the night. We're gonna win de facto because you weren't on last week, so we missed you. But glad to have you on. She will be actually streaming with us on the live stream for the 24-hour live stream we're doing. She's going to be at the 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time hour, and we're going to be coloring with her Back to the Future pages. So be looking forward to that.
And it's funny. She says the city's so nice they named it twice. Can't wait for June.
Exactly.
Some surprises coming this year. Wink, wink. Pop, pop, fizz, fizz. So we'll see what happens.
And don't forget, I just want to let him know, Beast, I know you're going to be on Omari. You will be coming on the show. I may want to change it, but I may be talking about changing up your topic because I think you hit some really good points today. But we'll see. But again, Archer, I love you, brother. We will, if we do it, I will try to schedule this a little further out into the summer because it will be easier to figure out what your schedule is, what my schedule is with the girls not in school. And I know we're not doing any cons this summer because we're doing Disney in the fall. So I may, if you get a Friday that you're available again, I'd love to bring you back to kind of continue this topic if you would like to.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet. All right.
And,
Well,
and we
Dave?
could always look at different time slots because I know it is a bit late for many of us.
Well, I'm going to be working till 5 o'clock on Fridays, Monday to Fridays.
Uh-huh.
So I will be able to go a lot earlier. So we may be looking to do like 7 or 8 o'clock, which I know is going to be going against KBG and a few other people. And I'm sorry, but we have to go based on what our times are because I'd rather be a little bit earlier than later.
And respectfully, those are game streams versus a talk stream. So those are apples and oranges, guys. Because I myself, I have a 11 o'clock. I gotta be ready for a Motorama here in Buffalo, New York. Suiting up today and tomorrow.
So Dave, you want to get us ready to close this out, Dave? What's your famous saying?
Guys, keep on busting. You know what I'm gonna say.
Dave always says it.
I should copyright that when someone uses it.
I know. I love it. I love it when he does it. When Archer says it, I love it. It's
no.
I don't say it. Dave says it because he says them on videos.
Yeah. But guys, catch you guys on the flip side. And as Dre always likes to say, watch your head on your way out through the portal, guys. We'll catch you later. Bye.
Dre and Dave hit it hard in the dark, spinning tales from the void, never bark.